Non-insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-523-3030. 800-523-3030. 800-523-3030.
The American Red Cross is facing a severe blood shortage, and donors are needed right now to make sure life-saving care isn't delayed for accident victims, surgery patients, and those facing critical treatments for cancer and chronic blood disorders. The Red Cross blood supply has dropped about 35% in recent weeks. There's no time to wait. Make an appointment today to give blood by using the Red Cross Blood Donor app, visiting redcrossblood.org, or calling 1-800-RED-CROSS to schedule your donation. Take action and help save lives.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to
your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. Back to sports. The early game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Good morning, early game crew. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. He's Captain Dave Adair, and that is Captain Dave Adair to you. Jen Jensen will be back next week. Kale did pretty well yesterday.
He did.
I give him an A.
He did.
He passed the test. He'll come back in here on Wednesday.
I have something to live up to, you're saying?
That's right.
This is not going to be good.
I do regret to inform you.
Standard has been set.
The standard has been set.
The standard is the standard, like Mike Tomlin says.
Well, I'll try my best.
And I know you will.
But
I know,
I don't know if I can live up to Kale. Certainly can't live up to Jen. I know that.
Oh, no one can.
No,
yeah.
nope.
That's the impossible standard, right?
Sure.
If we asked you to come in here and live up to Jen, we'd be preparing you to fail.
Correct.
So we grade everybody on a curve.
Yes. Please do.
But we'll have some fun with Captain Dave today. Preston's going to be hanging out with us for the first hour of the show.
Here for a good time, not a long time, baby. Let's go.
Going to make like a banana and split.
That's correct.
At 7 o'clock. My man Nick Harvey from WIS going to come in and hang out for the last 2 hours of the show.
Let's go.
And then our pal Lulu Kessen's going to join us at 8:30.
Lulu!
To talk a little hoops.
Are y'all going to play a little Lulu or Delulu?
We have to.
Got to.
Yeah, every time Lulu comes on, we have to have a little Lulu or Delulu. And we're going to talk a lot about this women's basketball team, especially for the Garnet Glasses segment, which is coming up in the next segment. I think when it comes to Gamecock athletics, if you are wearing your Garnet glasses, it's hard to see any other sport. But that one right now. But we got to cover both basketball teams. And we went over the game a little bit against Missouri. And now I think the closer we're getting to the end of the season, we can start looking at maybe some big picture stuff as to, okay, what has gone wrong? How could this have been avoided? And how does this get avoided next year? No matter who is coaching this team, whether Lamont Paris is retained for another year or if it's somebody else, there are issues in team building or roster construction, I should say. Maybe not team building. I think those are two different things. but maybe some issues in roster construction with this basketball team that I think maybe puts you behind the 8 ball early on in the season. And one of those things is playable height, I guess, for this team.
I like the way you phrase this.
Because you have 2 7-footers, and they don't play a lot. On Saturday, Kreese Esendoku didn't play at all. It was a DNP, coach's decision. And Jordan Butler got a sprinkling of minutes. It couldn't have been more than 5. I'd have to go back and look to see the exact number of minutes, but it could not have been more than 5. It was a handful of possessions.
If he was at the Chipotle, he would be like, "Can I have some more minutes, please?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can you get a little more?
Hey, Coach, can you put another scoop of minutes on my plate, please?
That'll be extra. Oh, okay, fine. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, we could live with that. Thanks. Have a good day. That's more so how it would have been for Jordan Butler in minutes on Saturday. But when you look at other teams in the SEC, they have more playable height at heights of 6'9" or taller, right? Mike Charjamps is 6'9", that's what he's listed as, but he doesn't really play down in the post as much. He is more of a wing player, facilitator, going to get a handful of shots per game, not a ton. Doesn't play the role of back to the basket. Like, think about these 2 different players here, Mike Charjamps and Thomas Houck from Florida. If I told you they're the same size, would you believe me?
No, I wouldn't, because I watched your boy from Florida play against us.
Yeah. He plays bigger, right? There are guys that can be the same height, but maybe they don't play the same size, if that makes sense.
Classic big man, tall man.
It is 100% the classic dichotomy of big man, tall man. I wanted to play something from Lamont's presser on Saturday, right? Because he was asked about, having 2 7-footers, but not really utilizing them. And this is what Lamont had to say when he was given that question.
Yeah, we practice every day. There are a lot of components to the game of basketball. Not turning the ball over. What kind of offense can we run with you on the floor? Who can you defend in terms of staying in front of the ball, mobility, who remembers plays and play sets, who is more likely to respond to something, so many factors. So certainly I have the guys who I think net out to be the best, and we still keep pushing buttons. It's why Jordan Butler went in there some today. It's why we're still in February trying to figure some of those things out from a consistency standpoint. So certainly size is a factor. Size is a factor, but I don't know that our tallest guys would be described by their teammates as our best rebounders. I'm not sure that would be the description that they would have.
Yeah, that last part there, when I was definitely writing down tallest players, not described
by their teammates.
By their teammates as best rebounders.
Now, how I would describe them, ask your partners, ask your teammates who they would describe them. They wouldn't pick you. Can we insert the Key and Peele coach translator here?
Yes.
Can I step in for the mob?
Absolutely. Yeah. Can you translate the Coachagese that we got?
What do you want me to do? He started the sentence with, "We practice every day. We practice every day. I see them every day. They don't jump. They can't remember plays. They can't guard anybody. They're a turnstile when they're in the court. What do you want me to do? I'm trying the best I can." Obviously, the dudes that I'm trying to play give us the best opportunity to win. And if they're not playing on a bad team, well, guess what? They're probably not doing things in practice. Just wanted to step in for Coach. Coach, you can't say that. I'll say that for you.
Bingo. And he did go on to say later on, because it was a very long answer. At the very end of it, he goes, "I see what they do in practice every day. What you guys see is who stands taller than the other. Which, good point. Good point. But I don't even need to see how they play in practice because I think that's reflected in the minutes that they've gotten this year.
Because this is a classic, and it's tough that you have to deal with this at the Division I SEC college level. But I dealt with this as a high school coach when there's a huge kid on the sideline that's not playing. Listen, if you are, 275 pounds in high school and your son is sitting the bench, there's a good reason. Because we would love to play that big kid.
Would love to. Would love to have the luxury of playing somebody.
We would love to play him.
Test.
Lamont would love to play these 7-footers, but he can't. And that's what he tried to say in the classy way that he does. He didn't want to throw it. Again, I really appreciate Lamont. He's transparent. He tells you what he says, but he doesn't want to throw anybody on the bus. But I'll do it for him because I've been in that spot as a coach. I would love to play this kid over here that's huge and looks great in the uniform, but he's not good. I watch him every day in practice. He doesn't play very well. And you can sit in the stands and be like, why don't they play that kid? Just come out to practice.
Yeah, come watch.
It's so amazing because that is a classic. I'm sure I know high school coaches deal with that same sort of conversation. And that's basically what he's saying. He's saying, man, if you could just come to practice, I'd show you.
And to me, it still is not a great position for Lamont that I will say that he put himself in. This coaching staff put themselves in because
Correct.
They recruited him.
Correct.
But it's one of two things. Either you got the evaluation wrong or not a lot was available to you with the resources that you have. Maybe it's both. Maybe you don't have, maybe the lack of resources forces you to moneyball it, right? Like the Oakland A's, well, now they're not the Oakland A's anymore. They're just, I guess,
Las
the A's
Vegas.
until they go to Las Vegas. Dumb, stupid. But the A's as a franchise, or the Tampa Bay Rays, right, are forced to have to moneyball it. That's their only method of survival. In college sports, for some schools, yeah, moneyballing it is your only way of survival. Acting as a farm system for larger schools, because once you do develop a freshman or sophomore that becomes good, the likelihood they go to leave to get paid what they'd be worth in an open market is very high. So moneyballing it, if you will, for lack of a better term, or trying to find value in bins that other people might not look in, is more of a thing with a lot of your other schools. In the SEC, it's going to be really hard to moneyball it, right? Because you are the level some of those players move up to. So if you're trying to moneyball it and you saw maybe Creased and said, oh, well, maybe he didn't get the minutes at Providence because of maybe just didn't fit in the system or whatever. I see a kid that's 7 foot that can shoot. He's got really good size. Maybe I can get him here and he can play. Or you saw Jordan Butler at Missouri and said, kid with really good size, got a good shooting stroke. Maybe he's not playing for one reason or another, but we can get him here and we can fix that. I think you've learned that you have found some traits in some players that if they're not playing a ton of minutes at the previous school, there's probably a bigger reason for that. And it might not be as simple as bringing them here and being able to just play right away into your system. And I think that's where, if this coaching staff is back next year, I do not know if they are or not. I have no inside intel there. But what I can tell you is someone will be coaching this team next year. There will be a coaching staff, right? The program will not go staffless. The evaluation on who you bring in at the forward positions, center positions, trying to fill out a roster. Even if you want to play positionless basketball, you still got to have some size in there to compete with some of your peers in this league. The evaluation has to be better with that group. That way you're not having to play at certain inherent disadvantages every single game, where maybe you can have a little bit of lineup versatility.
Yeah, and the inherent disadvantages that you essentially have 2 to 3 players on the roster that you cannot use.
Mm-hmm.
That leads to fatigue for the other players because they're not able, they have to play minutes. As you said, you don't have versatility, which we'll talk about with the women's basketball team here. You don't have lineup versatility. And it just basically limits the things that you can do. And essentially, I mean, somebody's got to be able to play.
Yeah.
And that puts you in a really tight spot. And so, yes, like you said, it's first and foremost, it's your responsibility because you evaluated them. You took that opportunity. Sometimes when you go to Amazon and you buy something like, man, this is really cheap. Let me get these. And then you get it, you're like, oh, That's why.
I broke it in the assembly process.
That's why that was really cheap. I get it now. It looked great, but there was a reason why it wasn't. So maybe, like you said, maybe those players, he's finding out maybe the reasons why they were not getting played. And again, and this is wherever you go, there you are. So the problems that you had at Providence or the problems that you had at this school, they're coming with you. You don't just get to leave those there. You put them in the bag with you and you travel with them. Mm-hmm. And that's not – so when we're talking about transfer portal, same conversation we'll talk about with football, you're not getting a completely different player just because he's changing his address. It's the same dude. Yeah. So you got to get that right in the evaluation process.
And they can change. It does take a lot of development.
A lot.
It takes a lot of development. And sometimes you might have to dedicate, one player to being a multi-year project to maybe get them to that level. However, where this program's at, having the years that they've had the last year and this year, you might not have that luxury, right? When you do go into the portal here in this next offseason, you might have to reach or maybe try to overpay for a big that is playable, that does a lot of things like rebound really well, defend forwards, and have a little bit of defensive versatility too, which is something that's needed in college basketball in 2026, and have to find somebody who can do that for you now. And I think that's maybe one of the biggest things once you do get to the offseason of what they have to do, regardless of who is coaching the team. Because one way or another, there will be a different look with forwards next year, whether Lamont stays or somebody else is in charge. That is going to be something that has to be fixed one way or another by someone. Well, coming up next, we'll get a little optimistic. We'll put the Garnet glasses on where we see a lot of success of this women's basketball team, including that lineup versatility that we mentioned. That's coming up next here in the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Go to 1075thegame.com and check out this sweet deal. Get a home exterior pressure wash from Ford's Full Court Pressure Wash for only $15. Just click on Sweet Deals. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Preston here for Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, it's no problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are. School, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out to you and take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows and mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
You never know when a moment might become a memory. with same-day glasses on iMart Express and 2 pairs of single vision starting at under $40 or 2 pairs of progressives for under $80. We're here to make sure you're ready anytime they do. From the most mundane Monday mornings to the most surprising Saturday nights. Get everyday savings for every moment. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
A scholarship doesn't just pay for school.
When I first started out, I'd be around a baseball field all day, just watching the guys' feet, like how they're moving, how they're breaking out of the clay. Turf grass management is not just cutting grass. There's so much more to it.
It turns passion into purpose.
The South Carolina Education Lottery it definitely allowed me to find myself again, to get an education, eventually starting my organization. I Got Legs.
Adam and Greg are 2 of over 750,000 life scholars giving back for a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Paid for by Adaptive Health.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report.
All right, got to bang up on Farrell Road at Killian Road this morning. Your weather outlook, it's going to be a nice day, breezy at times though. A 74 for a high. How about that? That's great. Tomorrow, 70 for a high, but we can't have nice things, so we should have scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. So be prepared for that. Thursday, temperature's going to start dropping, 63 for a high. Friday, 60. Saturday, 64. Sunday, 63. These aren't bad. 64 for next Monday. And next Tuesday, 65. So in the 60s, a little bit better. Better than that 30, 40 degrees that we've been having. And that's your weather outlook and your traffic update.
Early game with former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
It is that time. Our regularly scheduled glasses changeover. I'm taking off my normal glasses. They're not prescription, if anybody's asking. My eyesight is just fine. I'm very light sensitive, and if I stare at these screens all day, which if you're watching on the Game TV, you'll see that I'm staring at one laptop screen, but what you can't see is the 3 different monitors, 3 different TVs above those monitors, and the incredibly bright light we have in here for our video stream. And I get headaches really easily, so I have to wear those, or else my head's gonna hurt. So, that being established, my eyesight's actually just really good. Just sensitive, a little light sensitive. But I put on the Garnet glasses.
Different segment than last segment, huh?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. my vision's a lot different, yeah. Actually, you know, I'm light sensitive, but now I don't feel light sensitive anymore because all the sunshine with this women's basketball team. But you know the first thing I see, Preston Thorne, when I put these things on? I see some elite level lineup versatility with this basketball team, created by necessity. Maybe we didn't think you would have this level of lineup versatility, but I think what we've seen the last couple of games, if we're just going back to the games of last week, right? Recency bias is a hell of a drug, but we look at what happened against Mississippi State. We look at what happened against Tennessee. Those are 2 separate 40-point beatdowns, one against a team towards the bottom of the league, but another one against a team that was tied for first place in the league with you. we saw different things. Against Mississippi State, you saw a nice employment of a 3-big lineup. Not forwards, 3 centers, essentially, you had in the game, and Mississippi State had no answer for it. You know how you can do that, Preston Thorne? Is if one of your centers has a diverse skill set. I think we're learning Alicia Tornabese has a really diverse skill set. She moves really well on the open floor. And as we learned in the Tennessee game, she can face up and shoot threes. She's starting to knock down a few of those.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 things that come naturally to her, and then she's developing the inside presence.
And we're seeing this coaching staff get in their bag when it comes to having that 3-center lineup and drawing up plays with it. Again, my favorite design play I have seen in college basketball all year long. Again, I watch a lot of this sport, men's and women's. The best set I think I've seen all year was that last play at the end of the 3rd quarter against Mississippi State, where you have a 3-big lineup. You're setting a back screen for one of your centers to catch essentially a lob near the basket, while also having another center start off in the corner, which normally teams would not do because those centers are not shooting threats. But once that pass is caught, crashing the basket, leaving an easy layup. Mississippi State had to do one of 2 things. The help player had to stay over and make sure Adele did not catch the ball, but if they did, Alicia's got pretty much an open layup. So in the midst of the defense's natural rotation, you have a crashing big. And guess what? Another easy layup. Defense has 2 options, both of them resulting in easy layups. That is what makes a great play. But then you also have your normal starting lineup where your guards are starting to score more. We saw more scoring from Tania Latson and Raven Johnson and Tessa Johnson against Tennessee. And you can play a little smaller if you need to, with Joyce being your only big out there, because you know what Joyce can also do? Guard multiple positions. She can handle the ball a little bit. When she keeps that turnover number down, there's not a better, more versatile player in college basketball when she's able to do that and still have the assist numbers go up.
You know, as you were saying that, all my brain, my football brain was just converting into football thoughts. So the 3 big for me is 13 personnel.
Yep.
That's what I see in my mind.
Absolutely.
I see 3 tights running out there, and I'm like, okay.
It's a good parallel.
I like this. 13 personnel. Bigs with Joyce, we're going to run 11 personnel. I'm with you. To me, the Garnet Glasses, it starts and ends with Tania Latson. Because, and I guess I'm just future focused, in the tournament, you're going to need a bucket.
Yes.
You're going to need a bucket. Not a set, not a strategy, not a play. The game is bogged down. Somebody has to get us a bucket. And I felt like last year, that's where the team struggled at certain times, where they could just, hey, get us one. And we're starting to see, we know she's previously been able to do that. We haven't seen as much of that this year. But last game, we saw her really, really be comfortable with the ball against Tennessee. And I think hopefully my Garnet Glasses hopefully see a little bit more of that as we head towards the tournament. So for me, everybody else doing the same thing, playing well. But I think it allows the team, her being able to get a bucket allows everybody else to do what they're best at. Tessa can spot up and shoot now. Joyce can catch the ball and make a play. She doesn't have to facilitate as much, which kind of will cut down on her turnovers, I think, a little bit. So for me, Tania taking that lead of my role in this company is lead bucket getter. That's what I wanted to say on her card.
Lead bucket getter. My name is Tania Latson. Lead bucket getter.
That's what we need. And even this, Elijah, I don't need you to score 25. I just need you to get a bucket when we need a bucket. So that could be 10 points, but it might be 2 buckets that we really, really need at crucial moments.
Yeah. And the broadcast made a really good point when talking about Tania that, yeah, the scoring numbers aren't the same. And I think anybody with a brain would have known that she wasn't going to walk in here and score 25 points a game the way she did at Florida State. The usage rate has gone down, which I think we all would have expected when you went from being the one and only option on a Florida State team to being on a team that has had the best depth in the sport for the last 5 years.
You could have said just being on a team.
Yeah, or just being on a team. Yeah, exactly. Florida State wasn't known as a great basketball team. They had a great player. They did not have a great team. So the points per game was going to go down. The usage rate was going to go down. But the thing that I was maybe most curious about would be what the percentages look like. Some players are average efficiency scores but they have to be able to get a lot of shots up, right? They find their rhythm throughout the course of the game. And they can't be a player that maybe it's not their night in terms of being the leading scorer, but still being able to chip in 10 to 15 when they need to. Some players just aren't wired to do that. But Tania Latson's percentages have all gone up. The offensive rating numbers are really good. But the fact that her shooting percentages have gone up and she's equally as efficient tells me that she is the same Tania Latson that led the country in scoring last year. Maybe not as healthy in stretches, but when healthy and out on the floor, she is the same player, but she is assimilated very well into the culture of this team. So when it does come down to crunch time, and she maybe has only taken 7 or 8 shots in a game, because that's just how it works throughout the flow of the basketball game. If you need a bucket, the numbers are telling you you could still rely on her to be able to get that, even if she hasn't gotten through a ton of shots.
Yeah, and I just think that's, all things being equal, everything else, everybody playing their roles, that's going to be something that I just felt last year hindered them in a couple of different instances. Maybe that's why that Duke game was such a slog fest, because they just didn't have somebody to just, tear open, break the seal a little bit. And I think that's something that you need in a tournament moving forward.
Coming up next, baseball season starts this week. Where did the time go? Where did the time go? Right?
Do I keep the glasses off of this?
Well, I think we'll answer that on the other side, because The Athletic has their preseason top 25 poll. And before we tell you how many teams from the SEC are on it, I'm just going to preface it with there are a lot of SEC teams on it. How does that make us feel? Well, we'll see if the Garnet Glasses are still on in the next segment. Coming up next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach. Gamecock fans, get ready for something new this season. Charleston now has a new station for Carolina sports talk. Dial in to 96.9 The Game on HD3. Head to 96.9 FM and on an HD radio, punch into HD Channel 3. You'll unleash live Carolina coverage you can listen to all day long. New on HD3. It's 96.9 The Game HD3, South Carolina's newest sports station.
All right, y'all, the big game passed. You missed it. Too bad. So sad. Doesn't mean that the spring's not on the way. And when the spring's on the way, you can call the great folks from Integrated Media to get your outdoor setup ready. Baseball season is here. The big basketball tournament is coming. A huge golf tournament is on the way. And you can watch all of those outside, setting up, enjoying the beautiful weather with the folks from Integrated Media. You can have Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music, Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof, and Wi-Fi that works indoor and outdoors, so you can have all your devices running without having to worry about any significant lag time. That's right. The folks from Integrated Media can help you get all the things you need to get your home theater set up, or adjust your thermostat, or monitoring your security system from your cell phone, whatever you need. Call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's Integrated Media at 803-948-8327.
Sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Join Gamecock fans of all ages on Saturday, April 25th as you run, walk, or jog through Gamecock Park and the indoor and outdoor football practice fields for this year's Cocky Trot 5K and Fun Run and Walk. It's fun for the whole family, so don't miss out. Registration includes a commemorative race shirt and medal and access to purchase discounted football and baseball tickets. Register today at GamecocksOnline.com/CockyTrot. That's GamecocksOnline.com/CockyTrot.
Start your spring cleaning early and get an insanely clean home with Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Take 20% off standard cleaning services when you mention my name, Elijah Campbell, at 1075 The Game, or book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Joe Sandifer, Esquire, 11915 Plaza Drive, Suite 301, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, 29576.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Hey, this is Terry Ford. Got a little story time for you. If you're a business or property owner and you're needing to deter any unwanted cars from parking in your parking lots, definitely call Schroeder's Towing. They'll provide signage for your business completely free of charge. Anytime a vehicle is parked in your lot that shouldn't be, Schroeder's Towing will be there to make sure your lot stays open for your employees, customers, and tenants. Trust me, I know firsthand what happens when you ignore Schroeder's Towing signage. Just go online at schroederstowing.net.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. It's the Game Network Traffic Report.
All right, good news is the Farrow Road wreck at Killian Road, that's been cleared up, out of the way. Good there, but bad news because we have a new wreck. This one's going to be at Leesburg Road at I-77, so can't go 5 minutes without a wreck. We have a weather outlook for today, 74 for your high, breezy at times. Tomorrow, 70 for a high, but scattered showers, about a 50% chance of those, and breezy once again. Thursday, 63 for a high, Friday, 60, Saturday, 64, and Sunday, 63. So should be a pretty good weekend. Small chance of rain for the rest of those days other than the one for tomorrow. This is Captain Dave in your Traffic and Weather Center.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
If you can hear us now on the radio, I know we had some technical difficulties earlier this morning. I just got word from one Randy Young that the radio gremlins have been defeated.
Early candidate for winner, Randy Young.
Randy Young. We could give it to that man any day. If you've been hanging out with us on YouTube instead.
Appreciate you.
Or I guess our audio stream, like with the app, still works. So if you've been able to hang out with us that way, thank you for hanging out with us. But now if you rely on your terrestrial radio, still really cool. I think it's still one of the coolest things is radio. Never convince me otherwise. But we are back. Like we never left.
And unfortunately, you might have missed our Garnet Glasses segment. And if you've been watching on the stream, we don't have them on anymore.
No, we do not. We do not. And I don't think this is as much of a reflection of what I think this baseball team's going to be this year, because I honestly don't know. I know it's terrible analysis. I know I get paid to sit behind a microphone and tell you what I think's going to happen, what I know's going to happen. I can't. I can't. I don't think you can even get much from inter-squad scrimmages, too. That's the thing. I take maybe a little stock in it, but that's the one. That's the kind of emotional rub there and maybe intellectual rub that I have when it comes to inter-squad scrimmages of any sport is if somebody dominates, is it, you hit how many home runs in this? Are your sluggers that good, or is your pitching bad, right? Or if the pitchers are striking everybody out, it's like, are your pitchers that good, or is this going to be a year where we're not scoring any runs? That's hard for me to confidently parse through. So I'm still on a believe it when I see it basis. We'll get a sample size. We'll see how they are in non-con play. We'll see how they play in the Clemson series. And then I'll give it a couple of SEC series before I feel like I can really get a good beat on this team because it is so different. But one thing I can tell you is my confidence in being an SEC competitor, like truly competitive in this league, is a little lower because of who is in it, right? The Athletic and Teddy Cahill. Teddy Cahill does a really good job of covering the sport, been doing it for a long time. They released their first college baseball preseason top 25. And I'm just going to run through the SEC teams here, and we're just going to count, okay? And hopefully we have enough fingers to be able to count this. Number 2 is LSU. Number 3 is Texas. Number 4 is Arkansas. Number 5 is Auburn. Notice, we've already gotten to 4, and we haven't gotten out of the top 5. Number 6 is Mississippi State. And then we keep scrolling. Number 9 is Florida. Number 13 is Ole Miss. Number 14 is Georgia. Number 16 is Vanderbilt. We're already at 9. Number 18 is Tennessee. Now we're at 10. Number 23 is Kentucky, and that rounds it out. So, no, we don't have enough fingers to depict. If I held up all my fingers, that'd be 10. I'd be one off. 11 teams in the preseason top 25. Now, this isn't new for the SEC, right? It is a baseball powerhouse. It's the best baseball conference on the planet, and then the ACC comes up right behind it to me, and then there's everybody else in terms of just health of your league and having a bunch of teams that can win a national title within your league. Knowing how many teams are projected to be in the top 25, I think a lot of them stay. I'm intrigued with Kentucky. I know Texas is going to be really good. I know LSU is going to compete for titles again, even though they lost the 2 best arms that they had, but the hitting lineup is still the talent that LSU has is always going to be really good. Whether or not they repeat and they pull it together again, I think would be a really good coaching job on Jay Johnson's part because of just how much they did lose. And that would be a true program championship if they were able to pull it off that way. Tennessee is going to be interesting because there's no Tony Vitello. How does Elander take control of that ship and steer it throughout the course of an entire season? I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee does have some struggles with that, so they could maybe be in and out of a top 25 list for most of the year. But I look at the other teams on here. I expect Georgia to be hanging in here the entire time. I don't know about Ole Miss. I think there's maybe some volatility there, but I don't see why Florida can't be at least a top 15 program. Mississippi State's got a first-year head coach, but again, talent, and that first-year head coach is really, really good and did some really good things at Virginia, winning the College World Series. And then Auburn had a lot of good returning players. Arkansas's got a lot of returning players, and of course, Arkansas is always going to be one of the best pitching teams in college baseball year in, year out, no matter who they lose. So you look at the backdrop of the SEC. Does that alone make you a little more pessimistic about this South Carolina team, even if they are able to make strides and have some reasonable growth from what we saw last season?
That's a great way to frame the question because the whole time when you were talking, my biggest thing that I'm thinking is this is not news. We know what the SEC is. The problem is there was a time, Elijah, when people were talking about us in that conversation about the tough teams in the SEC. And now they're not. We was amongst the number of, it's LSU, Texas, South Carolina. That's not the case right now. And I think we all have to look in the mirror and understand that that's not the case. And regardless of who we were at a time in history, which increasingly is getting further back in the rearview mirror.
Definitely lost the Napoleon test.
Right? We have to look at what we see now. If you want to put the Garnet glasses on and try and figure out some reasons why, I don't know if it's going to be able to see that. But no, it does not make me more optimistic. It doesn't make me more optimistic. It does make me more pessimistic for this team because even on the preseason notes by various counts, whether it's this top 25 or whether it's the SEC preseason rankings, nobody has any reason to believe that this team is going to be successful. And based on what we saw from this staff last year, I'm struggling to find reasons for myself to believe that this team is going to be successful.
I think one thing that can maybe give you optimism would come from one of the teams on this list, and that's the team that's coming in at number 5, Auburn. Auburn seemed like a pretty hopeless program not too long ago. And Butch Thompson shows up, and they turn it around pretty quickly. They have a pretty dramatic year 1, year 2 type deal. I mean, a very dramatic one. But it required a lot of player development from guys that they were able to retain. Now, it also requires being healthy, which I think is the first thing that, with what we've seen so far with maybe Bo Hollins not knowing when he's coming back or when he's going to be available. How's KJ Scobie going to be health-wise to start the season? What's your arms going to look like? Because Jake McCoy is not going to be pitching this season because of Tommy John surgery. We already have a health question, and Auburn didn't necessarily have that health question going into last year. But they retained a lot of the players they really wanted to retain, and they landed on a lot of their transfer portal picks. That showed that even in a sport like baseball that has a lot of positions and spots on the team, that you can change it around from year 1 to year 2. And Auburn looked really good. They lost in their super regional, but I guess they lost to a team that Coastal Carolina that ended up going to the final of the College World Series. Auburn was really good, right? That example, I think, would give you a little bit of hope that it can happen. Maybe in a sport like college basketball, it's harder. In college football, it's harder for a dramatic year 1, year 2 turnaround. It can be tough, but it can be done. It just, when you look at the entire top 25, it's like there's a lot of work you got to do this year.
You mentioned that Coastal team who's number 7.
They are number 7 on this list, yeah. Also wanted to note that before we got out of this segment because they're legit. Talking to the folks at Coastal whenever we were there on December 19th for the Myrtle Beach Bowl, they feel really good about their chances. And I do love the confidence that program is oozing with, and it's certainly becoming the envy of the other big-time schools in the state like South Carolina and Clemson. But coming up next, I think the Seattle Seahawks, when they win the Super Bowl, obviously people are going to try to replicate what they do, but I think there is a valuable lesson in how they won this Super Bowl, and it has nothing to do with what they did on a football field. We'll tell you what that is coming up next here in the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today at qckinetics.com.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
This Odyssey Sports Minute is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The Seattle Seahawks were super impressive in winning Super Bowl 60, but let's be real, it's one of the worst Super Bowls ever played. Super Bowl 53, Patriots 13, Rams 3 was bad, but at least that game was close. This was a snooze fest from start to finish. Congratulations to Seattle. Also, the game stunk. I'm Nick Costos.
Ah, the most beautiful time of year is upon us. Tax season. And TaxSlayer is here to help you file. We guarantee 100% accuracy and your maximum refund. Those are some good numbers. And you can trust me, because I'm a talking calculator. Did I mention TaxSlayer even has support from real U.S.-based humans? If you have any questions along the way, beat the rush and start for free today. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor.
This Valentine's Day, celebrate the one you love the most with Hallmark cards at Walgreens. Valentine's Day is the best time to send your favorite person a reminder of just how much they mean to you. A Hallmark card is a super simple and beautiful way to say how grateful you are for the love you two share. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is Saturday, February 14th. Visit Walgreens today to find a Hallmark card that shows just how much you care for them, because love lives here.
Here's a tale of Linda trying to lose weight, but the med prices she found were all over the place.
Hidden fees and markups made her jaw drop low. Then she found Good RX. Now she's in the know.
GLP-1 subscriptions FDA approved.
With clear upfront pricing.
And same-day pickup.
That's Good RX, the no-nonsense way. Save time and money on prescriptions.
Get to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
This Valentine's Day, celebrate the one you love the most with Hallmark cards at Walgreens. Valentine's Day is the best time to send your favorite person a reminder of just how much they mean to you. A Hallmark card is a super simple and beautiful way to say how grateful you are for the love you two share. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is Saturday, February 14th. Visit Walgreens today to find a Hallmark card that shows just how much you care for them, because love lives here.
Here's a tale of Linda trying to lose weight, but the med prices she found were all over the place.
Hidden fees and markups made her jaw drop low. Then she found Good RX. Now she's in the know.
GLP-1 subscriptions FDA approved.
With clear upfront pricing.
And same-day pickup.
That's Good RX, the no-nonsense way. Save time and money on prescriptions.
Get to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
The Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Anytime somebody wins something like the Super Bowl, it's fun to go back and look and see how it is they built their team, right? Because so much of professional sports is strategic team building. It's not maybe quite like college sports. They're starting to be a little more similar with transfer portal, so we're starting to see those two worlds kind of collide a little bit. But there are more finite rules with how you can obtain players in the NFL, and you have to be able to find the best way, whether it's balancing your salary cap and trying to find the best ways to circumvent certain things, or something like the draft, which is something entirely different because players don't have a say. Usually with transfers in college or free agents in the pros, there's a mutual agreement for this to happen. If I'm the best player in college basketball and I don't want to get drafted by the Sacramento Kings and the Kings have the first pick, sorry, I don't have much luck there. More than likely, I'm going to have to play for the Sacramento Kings. A fate that I don't want to wish upon anybody, but some people have to. With Seattle, though, a fun point has been made, and I saw this coming across, Twitter. Underdog tweeted all of the most of the first and second round picks for the Seahawks, including a couple of late round picks they've made since 2022, which is the first draft they had where they got picks from the Russell Wilson trade.
Thanks, Russ.
Russ helped build this thing. That's crazy.
Send him a gift certificate in the mail.
He was maybe the last piece of the last regime to leave, but the one who brought back the most in return. Now, these are just the draft picks that the Seattle Seahawks have had, the notable draft picks they've had since 2022. Let's start in 2022. Charles Cross, left tackle. Boye Mafe, defensive end. He had a really good game on Sunday. Kenneth Walker III in the second round.
Heard of him?
Super Bowl MVP. Abraham Lucas, offensive lineman in the third round. Kobe Bryant. Not that Kobe Bryant, but a Kobe Bryant that was a defensive back for Cincinnati when they went to the college football playoff. They got him in the fourth round.
I have questions. I need to ask his parents some questions.
Oh, I think you know what the answers are. I think you already know what the answers are. And maybe that's why they changed the spelling. This is Kobe with a C.
It's not enough.
With a C and a Y.
It's not enough.
Still some stolen valor there, stolen name valor.
But you made it to the league, so
I mean,
maybe it worked.
Yeah, clearly might have given him some type of positive momentum. In the 5th round that year, Tyreek Woolen, who I guess almost would have been known for getting the penalty that kept them out of the Super Bowl. It didn't keep them out of the Super Bowl. They got in, and they won it. And Woolen had a really good game on Sunday, too. In 2023, Devon Witherspoon in the 1st round. Heard of that guy? Pretty good. He was really good on Sunday night. Later in that 1st round, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Pretty good. Offensive Player of the Year in 2026 or 25. And then Derek Hall, defensive end, in the 2nd round. In 2024, 1st rounder, Byron Murphy. Incredible against the run. Had an incredible season for the Seattle Seahawks.
Also a member of the club, 6-foot club.
That's right. Well, he's about to be the poster boy of that, I think, now. That was only year 2.
We might have passed the mantle to him. You, my son, take the mantle and run with it.
You are now an inspiration for other interior defensive linemen who are under or 6 feet or under, and maybe more built like bowling balls.
Listed at 6 feet, definitely not 6 feet.
No. We call that an AAU height listing or a dating app height listing.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2025, in the 1st round, they took Gray Zabel, an offensive lineman from North Dakota State, who was a key cog on that offensive line this year. They don't run maybe outside zone as well if it's not for Gray Zabel. And then, of course, we all know who they took in the 2nd round at pick 35, Nick Emenwari. Almost every single one of those players were key impact players in winning a Super Bowl on Sunday night. And if John Schneider can teach you anything, the GM for the Seattle Seahawks, is that having draft picks is well and good, but one thing you must do is nail the evaluation and play that game better than anybody else, because all those guys are still on rookie deals. And that's maybe one of the reasons why they can win a Super Bowl and go into the league the next year with the 4th most salary cap space in the sport.
Yeah, they've just firmly entered into the window. The window is wide open right here for them. And that is very impressive when you lay it out like this, because as I'm reading through these guys, obviously I wasn't paying attention to, who the Seahawks drafted in 2022 in the 5th round, but then you're seeing these people make plays on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Every one of these dudes was extremely responsible for their plays made. And the one that really stands out to me is Gray Zabel, because he was pick 18.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't pick 5.
Pick 18.
Like Will Campbell was. And we heard Will Campbell's. We didn't hear Gray Zabel's name at all.
Nope.
That's good. Pick 18. We heard Will Campbell's name a lot.
Way too much.
Pick 5. And so, yeah, they won that. They won.
Yeah. And what's crazy, too? There was another team that needed a safety in the 1st round, the Baltimore Ravens, who were going to draft a safety.
Yep.
They took a risk by not taking Nick there, getting their guy at offensive line, and then taking Nick in the 2nd round, hoping that he'd get passed up on. It takes some luck, but it also takes being better evaluators than other people in that sport. So when the draft comes around this year, my favorite thing about all drafts is that is where championships can be won and windows can be opened and also completely slammed shut at the same time. But starting hour number 2, we're going to take a look at this year's NFL draft and where Brandon Cisse is projected to go next.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. All the demolition we had to do in our kitchen, we had new cabinets that had to be installed, and I'm telling you, CHW Cabinetry was so helpful. Once we picked everything out, got the design figured out, we got those photorealistic renderings that were really helpful because it was a picture of our finished kitchen, which, like I said before, makes a big difference when you're trying to pick out everything else to get your kitchen put together. Kitchens, though, that's not all they do. We redid an upstairs bathroom and got cabinetry for that. And then we just redid our master bath where we also got cabinetry from CHW. And again, great experience, super thrilled. They can also help you update your pantry, maybe update some of the hanging racks in your closet. Maybe you want that a little more functional. If you're looking to make a little home office space, they can help you with that as well. Just visit chwcabinetry.com to learn more. Call them today at 803-520-6837. Be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Sponsored by SC Education Lottery. The Mega Millions jackpot for Tuesday is $366 million. million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See SCEducationLottery.com for jackpot odds and a store near you.
Start your spring cleaning early and get an insanely clean home with Zero-Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Take 20% off standard cleaning services when you mention my name, Elijah Campbell, at 1075 The Game, or book online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
The Toasty Hotspot is our sweet deal of the week. This Friday beginning at 9 a.m., visit 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals to get a $50 gift certificate to the Toasty Hotspot for just $25. Don't miss out.
Everyone needs to have at least one person in their corner in life. When you don't, it's an extremely lonely and frightening place to be. But knowing you have that one person gives you peace and hope. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Since 1988, myself and my firm have been in so many corners for so many clients for so many years. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason, and it's not even close. We fought like hell for you. We fight the bullies, automobile insurance companies, the makers of unsafe products, medical providers who injured or killed their own patients. It has been such an honor and made my life complete. If you ever need us, it's easy. On your mobile device or computer, visit forthepeople.com, and then we get to work 24/7. Whether you're hurt in a car crash, injured on the job, or have questions about your Social Security, we're here for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Joe Sandifer, Esquire, 11915 Plaza Drive, Suite 301, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, 29576.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass, shepherdsglass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. It's the Game Network Traffic Report.
All right, taking a look once again at your traffic. We still just have that one accident, and that's going to be at Leesburg Road at I-77. Columbia PD is working on that one. Your weather outlook for today, 74 for a high, breezy at times, but should be a pretty nice day. Tomorrow, 70 for a high. Scattered showers are possible, though, 50% chance of those. Your weekend outlook beginning Thursday, as Bill Gunner would say, 63 for a high, Friday 60. Saturday and Sunday, though, should be pretty pleasant. 64 for your Saturday, 63 for your Sunday, but Sunday looks like rain, 70% chance of those thunderstorms and showers. So look out for that. Monday, we'll get back to work with 64 for a high. Your overnight lows in the 30s and even in the upper 40s. This is Captain Dave in the Traffic Center.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 1075 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Hour number 2 of the Early Game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. Out is Preston Thorne. In is WIS's Nick Harvey. And from Palmetto Sports, Nick Harvey. Man of many titles. Of many programs.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. There's a lot going on all the time.
At all times. And, of course, our man, Captain David Dare, in the captain's chair. And that rhymed. Didn't even really mean for it to be. That kind of just came to me.
Dr. Seuss on a Tuesday.
That's right. And we got a lot to talk about here in the second hour. We'll start off with the NFL draft, and then we'll do a little bracketology in the next segment when it comes to this women's basketball team. And I have a blind resume test for Nick Harvey. And I'm really excited. I'm really curious to see who he ends up taking in said blind resume, because South Carolina women's basketball team, clearly one of the best teams in college basketball. Is the resume reflecting that when it comes to seedings in the NCAA tournament? We'll take a look at that coming up next. But, Nick, before you got in here, Preston and I were talking about this impressive, really, draft run, like a generational run of drafting by John Schneider and the Seattle Seahawks. I think that explained a lot of what we saw on Sunday night when it came to their defensive obliteration of the New England Patriots. And just to kind of recap, too, in 2022, a lot of these picks that came from the Russell Wilson trade, they had Charles Cross, Boye Mafe, Kenneth Walker III, Abraham Lucas, Kobe Bryant, Tyreek Woolen. And 23, Devon Witherspoon, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Derek Hall. In 2024, Byron Murphy. In 2025, Gray Zabel, and, of course, Nick Emmanwori. That's 4 drafts of essentially building yourself a window where you have a lot of these guys on rookie deals that are going to give you flexibility to sign other players like DeMarcus Lawrence. They had plenty of money to sign a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence. They had plenty of money to go out there and obtain any type of player they wanted, and they weren't going to lose any bidding wars for free agents. And they got a bargain with Sam Darnold, right? They got him maybe at under cap value because of what he was the years prior to joining Minnesota. And you were able to set up a window for a long time. I think we've established that these things, Super Bowls, any type of championships, can be won in the drafting process. So I wanted to look at 2 things when it came to our first look at the 2026 NFL mock draft from The Athletic, and players that we think can be those game-changing players, as well as where's Brandon Cisse going to go? Because Brandon Cisse's stock, I think, slowly throughout the college football season started rising, and now that we're in draft season, Senior Bowl's coming past, and now we're starting to, once we get to the combine, then we'll get the combine craziness, like the recency bias from guys running in their underwear on television is a hell of a drug, and it does create a lot of really bad decisions from NFL teams, especially if they can't play football. But I always think of Darius Hayward-Bay being a top 10 pick when he had no business being a top 10 pick. But Brandon Cisse can still make that stock go up. This fluctuates a lot, and a lot of times it's fit too, right? Maybe some teams that could use the services of a corner, maybe need the services of an offensive tackle, or where they're at in the draft. I think we've gotten so advanced in terms of draft data. Teams won't pick a certain player because their position at a certain point in the first round, because there's a lot of drafting for value. So there's a lot of elements that really go into this, but the Athletics, Nick Baumgartner, had his post-Super Bowl mock draft, and when it comes to Brandon Cisse, he's got him going to the Dallas Cowboys at number 20, the pick that they got from the Micah Parsons trade. And here's what he had to say about Brandon Cisse. Said Cisse, 6 foot, 190, could be a player on the rise, especially if he runs at the combine. No one would be surprised with a 40-yard dash in the 4.3 second range. He had 7 pass breakups and forced 8 incompletions during his lone year at South Carolina. I think the thing that matters most here is that sentence that was read at the end. 7 pass breakups, forced 8 incompletions. And when you watched Brandon Cisse a lot this year, even in plays in which he might have gotten beat at the line of scrimmage, his closing speed was really good, and he forced a lot of incompletions because of how good I think he is with his hands when the other receiver gets their hands on the ball. He's got knocking the ball out, dislodging ball from receiver. I think he does have a physicality level to him that was really good at forcing those incompletions, even if a good pass was made.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think, obviously in a season where South Carolina didn't shine overall, the defense was still the most put together position group on the field altogether as far as it goes. But I completely agree. Like, Brandon Cisse at times was a guy who, when you're watching South Carolina's defense play and you're watching a big third down, or you're watching, all these scenarios where you need to get 3 and out, whatever it is, like, you're depending on maybe one of like 3 guys, and Brandon Cisse became one of those guys this season for the Gamecocks. I mean, he was a quick impact type of player, and I think that's not slept on by NFL executives. Like, when you bring in a guy from the portal who has had some pretty good numbers, I mean, it's not, He had a good college career, but he really put together a great final season in his time at South Carolina. And I think, should somebody take him, I mean, you're looking at somebody who could probably play more. I mean, obviously a corner, but like, even he could, if they need to, he could slide into a nickel, and he can be that blitzing back where he makes a difference with his speed, and that's going to only improve his stock even more.
And that's why I found that to be very interesting. And when it comes to fit, too, with the Dallas Cowboys, they have a lot of defensive needs. that they need to be able to fulfill. I mean, obviously, when you trade Micah Parsons now, you have a void at maybe the most important defensive position. But if you're going to discuss that trade in favor of Dallas, I think the value is getting that pick. And now they do have them projected at number 12, taking Sonny Styles, the linebacker from Ohio State. Again, freakishly athletic. Maybe you're drafting him and slating him to be that Micah Parsons replacement, because I don't think you can go outside of this first round and not try to get one of the better edge rushers or linebackers in this draft. If we look at that haul that they would get in the first round with Sonny Styles and then Brandon Cisse, I think that maybe changes things if those guys are able to play early. And I need to go watch more Sonny Styles specifically. I watched a lot of Ohio State, and I saw they obviously had so much talent on the defensive side of the ball. Right. It was any given guy, any given play. But I do know a lot more of what Brandon Cisse brings to the table, and I think that would be a really good fit for that franchise to be able to get a corner that you can trust. And if you can maybe develop him a little bit along the way, because nobody's going to be a finished product, then I think that isn't a bad starting spot for Brandon Cisse, given how much they need a player with his skill set.
Yeah, well, and I mean, and I don't think it's something where you can say it's impossible that he comes in and immediately gets a spot on that defense starting, or at least getting significant snaps as a rookie. Because, again, you're talking about a Dallas team that at times last year it was evident how badly they needed to rebuild that defense. And
one of the worst statistically in the NFL. They hemorrhaged rushing yards, passing yards, any type of yards you could possibly think of. They hemorrhaged it.
Right.
It wasn't great.
And I think that's one of those things, though, where, like, yes, obviously you don't want to draft a guy and say, okay, let's see if you can play NFL football, and you don't get to develop any further or grow or anything as a player. But then you take the flip side of that with a guy like Nicky Manwari, who stepped straight into that Seahawks defense and was one of the most versatile and also one of the most impressive players for the Seahawks defense multiple times this season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's things like that where it's just you either got it or you don't in your first year, and that's not saying that's an end-all, be-all. You don't have to have it your rookie year. As long as you continue to develop or you continue to just make improvements, then it's, I think executives can live with that. The front office can live with that. But going back to the start of the segment really quick, you got to give a lot of kudos to the Seahawks front office, because holy moly, the scouts who went after guys in these drafts the past few years and all the decisions that were made to obtain these players in the draft and not have really, in my opinion, you haven't seen one of them like bust. You haven't seen a complete bust out of any of these draft picks.
All those guys were contributors in various ways on a Super Bowl winning team on their rookie deals.
Yeah, and then they bring in Ernest Jones as well, who in one of the funniest interviews of the entire Super Bowl.
Got
Chris Berman telling him you had 10 tackles, and he goes, "Who did?" And he said, "You did."
You did.
And he was all
the game.
But truly, I mean, that was just it's an incredibly impressive front office performance from the Seahawks. They did a great job. But going back to Cisse, I think you've got to hope that he can perform really well as a rookie. And again, he has the speed, no doubt, to hang with some of the NFL's best, right? So then it just becomes how far can you grow in the offseason, learn your defense that you're now a part of, and fit that system the way they want you to do it.
And then when looking at kind of this mock draft too, there's obviously some highlights here. One is the Fernando Mendoza going number 1 to the Raiders. I think we can all bank on that happening. When you watch Fernando Mendoza, obviously the story was great, and he was great at the college level. I think we've gotten so many different examples as to the learning curve that some of these quarterbacks have to have when it comes to going to the NFL. And a lot of that is just with like a multitude of things. One, the rule discrepancy with the illegal man downfield. It's why NFL teams don't run as many RPOs as they do in college, because you get 2 additional yards in college for a lineman to be downfield. That's a different change, right? So you're not running as many RPOs. Fernando Mendoza ran a lot of RPOs at Indiana. Then there's the hash mark difference, which shout out to Brett Coleman, a great video on YouTube who explains how drastic that is in terms of what the play calling looks like from college to the NFL. With the college, having much wider hash marks, it creates a lot more open space. So it's a little different that way. And also players not playing under center at the quarterback position in college anywhere near as much as they do in the NFL. And it's already hard to diagnose defenses when they're in front of you the entire time. It's even harder when you have to take your back to them on play actions, which the NFL runs a lot of, and then having to turn around and then see what the defense has done post-snap, which is almost always different than what it was pre-snap. There's a big learning curve there. What is maybe, I guess, your level of expectation for somebody like Fernando Mendoza, who we all know could ball in college, to get to a place in Las Vegas and have to be good right away?
It's so tough what the NFL has become, because it used to be, I mean, you go back and even look at like when Aaron Rodgers was drafted and he had Brett Favre in front of him in Green Bay and he got to learn from one of the best to do it and develop. Like, that doesn't really happen anymore, especially for quarterbacks. Quarterbacks need that time to develop when they get drafted into the NFL. And how many times have we seen rookie quarterbacks? I mean, Sam Darnold, for instance, got drafted and got thrown into the mix almost immediately and struggled because he didn't have time to adapt and grow. It's changed. The way that the game has changed, and these rookie quarterbacks get taken so early in these first rounds and then don't have some sort of a mentor to kind of guide them through the process the first couple of years. Like, obviously, yes, you want to draft the highest talent and you want to see them execute and perform well as early as possible, but you can't have these high expectations of a guy who's coming straight out of college football to learn all these new systems, these new rules, the more complex offenses that you're going to run, and the way that, you know, again, that some of these rule changes will affect the way that they run an offense. I just think the expectations are too high for rookie quarterbacks in this league. They get drafted and then don't get developed because they're expected to take what they already have and make it work in pro football. I mean, that's just not fair. Those aren't real expectations to have, or realistic expectations to have for a rookie quarterback.
Definitely, since the skill set isn't necessarily just copy and paste and bam, you get results. There's a lot of learning that needs to be done. But I think if there is something that's a plus for him is you do have Ashton Genty, you do have Brock Bowers. There are some pieces on the offense that can help you out a little bit. But most importantly, I think them hiring Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator from the Seahawks, is one of the best things that they could do for a rookie quarterback, is give them a coordinator and a play caller who is really good at working with quarterbacks and has a good track record of developing them a little bit. But coming up next, it's the early game morning meeting, and we're introducing a new subject, bracketology, where I want to do a little blind resume exercise on our pal Nick Harvey from WIS. We'll do that next, coming up on the early game.
Wow, what a play! The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
The Game phone lines at 803-404-6100. Sponsored by AAA Heating and Air. Now offering 12-month payment plans on all HVAC or electrical repairs with no credit check. Online at callAAAtoday.com. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
If the big game got your competitive juices flowing, well, you can apply that at the golf level, right? Because my friends over at Pro Swing are kicking off, or teeing off rather, maybe the more appropriate term here, their 2026 Spring League. Now, the league's going to run from March 9th through June 7th. We're going to have 10 regular season weeks, 2 playoff weeks for the players making the playoff cut, and the cut occurs after playoff week 1. One of my favorite things about this is that you can do this at either location, right? Whether it be the Chapin location or the Forest Acres location at Pro Swing. It's $40 per round, and it's 1 round per week. But if you're a member at Pro Swing, you get a little bit of a perk, and that's that the round is $25 per round for their members. They have individual 18-hole play, golf zone handicap-based scoring. They'll fight the league based off of the amount of responses, and weekly points awarded based on tiered placements. Go to ProSwingColumbia.com for more info, and don't forget to sign up quick because spots are filling up fast.
Fans of all ages on Saturday, April 25th, as you run, walk, or jog through Gamecock Park and the indoor and outdoor football practice fields for this year's Cocky Trot 5K and Fun Run and Walk. It's fun for the whole family, so don't miss out. Registration includes a commemorative race shirt and medal and access to purchase discounted football and baseball tickets. Register today at GamecocksOnline.com/CockyTrot. That's GamecocksOnline.com/CockyTrot.
Hey guys, Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central here to make sure your business and property parking lots are kept available from any unwanted cars taking up your spots with Schroeder's Towing. For instance, you're coming in hot to the game studios for your show and you park next door in an unauthorized lot with signage that was provided for free from Schroeder's Towing. Next thing you know, the show is in the books and your car is out of the lot. It really is that simple. That's a true story. Call Schroeder's today and keep those unwanted cars out of your lots. Online at schroederstowing.net.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Flowers and chocolates are okay, but an insanely clean home from Zero Res Carpet Cleaning is sure to impress your loved one. Only Zero Res uses zero water technology to clean your carpets and other surfaces without harsh chemicals. To make things sweeter, they leave zero residue, so your carpets stay cleaner longer. Take 20% off standard cleaning services when you mention my name, Elijah Campbell, at 1075 The Game, or book online at ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res. All they leave is clean.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
The Toasty Hotspot is 5 Point's favorite breakfast and brunch destination. Offering big flavor and real comfort, the Toasty Hotspot does breakfast and brunch right. With great full breakfast menu items like the Toasty Breakfast Bowl or build your own omelet to a terrific brunch and lunch menu. From the first bite to the last sip, the Toasty Hotspot is where breakfast and brunch live. If it's lunchtime, it's drink time. The Toasty Hotspot offers happy hour daily from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Big pours, small prices with $5 mimosas and $10 rum punch. When Columbia wants breakfast and brunch, they visit the Toasty Hotspot, 2002 Green Street in Columbia. Don't miss out on their specials of the week. Follow the Toasty Hotspot on Facebook and check them out at thetoastyhotspot.org. The Toasty Hotspot is our sweet deal of the week. This Friday beginning at 9 a.m., visit 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals to get a $50 gift certificate to the Toasty Hotspot for just $25. Don't miss out. It's the Game Network Traffic Report.
All right, in traffic this morning, we still see Leesburg Road at I-77 with an accident there. They are still working on. Otherwise, the Interstate 77, 20, and 26, 126, all moving along fairly well at the moment. Slowness is coming down in the downtown area, Garnets Ferry Road, getting a heavy traffic at the moment. Also, 378 coming in from Lexington and Highway 1 as well coming in from Lexington and West Columbia. Weather outlook for today, 74 for your high, breezy at times. Tomorrow, 70 for a high, but scattered showers, 50% chance of those scattered showers for tomorrow. And then we'll look at the weekend, looking pretty good. Highs in the 60s, lows in the upper 40s. Not bad. It's Captain Dave with the Traffic Center.
With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 1075 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
We love to introduce new subjects, new topics for our morning meeting, but today we're introducing my favorite subject. And it's not even one you get to learn about in school. And that's what we're going to talk about for today's morning meeting.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day.
Yeah, it will.
Let's go.
Bracketology time.
Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
And for me, any day I get to put the bracketologist hat on, I'm going to have a lot of fun. It is going to be an awesome day. But for the South Carolina women's basketball team, I think they're in a really good position to be a 1 seed. I think it will matter, though, which 1 seed you are. How much does it matter? where you're going to be sent when it comes to playing your region semifinals and final, which we know as the Sweet 16 in the Elite Eight. Like hosting in the first round, not going to be an issue. I think being a number 1 seed, depending on what happens, shouldn't be an issue. But how high of a 1 seed are they? Which is why I wanted to bring out a blind resume test for you, Nick Harvey, because one of these teams is South Carolina, one of these teams is not. These teams are jockeying for spots in those four of those 4 1 seed spots. Team A is number 3 in net ranking. Team B is number 4 in net ranking. So Team A, 1 spot ahead. Similar records, Team A is 24-2. Team B is 23-2. Strength of schedule, Team A is 12. Team B is 8. So Team A, 1 spot higher in net. Team B, a little bit better in terms of the strength of schedule metric. In terms of Quad 1 records, Team A is 6-2 in Quad 1 games. Team B is 8-2 in Quad 1 games. When it comes to the average net ranking of the teams they beat, Team A's average net ranking win is 108, so obviously lower the better. Team B is 117. In terms of the average net ranking of the teams that have beaten them, Team A is 8. Team B is 4. So very similar, a little bit of a difference. Team A is a higher net ranking and a better average win. Team B is just 1 spot below in net ranking, but has 2 more Quad 1 wins and has a better average net loss. I will say this. These 2 teams have played each other twice, and they split against each other. So given those resumes, Nick Harvey, would you take Team A or would you go with Team B for a higher 1 seed?
Man. I mean, it's hard because Team B has 2 more Quad 1 wins in their back pocket. And their strength of schedule was, what, 12?
Was 8.
Was 8.
And Team A was 12. They're very similar, and of course they play, which means I think you know
exactly
what one of
these
who
teams
both
are.
the teams are. You just don't know which one is Team A and which one is Team B.
I think I'm really conflicted here because I really don't want to pick the team that I'm thinking the other team is.
Oh, that's the beauty of that's the beauty of the exercise.
I think I'm going to go with Team B though.
Okay.
Like Team B's got, I mean, they've got the 2 more Quad 1 wins, but they were higher in the
net ranking.
Yeah.
Which what we used to use as RPI a long time ago. Then the net is still a relatively new metric being used when it comes to fielding the tournament. But Nick goes Team B. Team B is Texas. God. Team A is South Carolina. But that shows how razor thin the margins are here right now as we sit on February 10th. And a lot can change. These teams can very well play each other again next month in Greenville. I expect these 2 teams to play next month in Greenville. I think these are the 2 best teams in the SEC.
Yeah.
LSU is good, but I also see LSU as maybe a little more flawed than South Carolina and Texas, especially the way South Carolina is playing right now, right? We'll see on Saturday. That's the big one on Saturday, is going to Baton Rouge and playing that game, given all of the history between the 2 programs, recent and more distant. But when you look at it, UConn's going to be the number 1 overall seed because no one in the Big East is going to come within 35 points of them. I feel really confident that. They rested starters against Butler and still won by 35 plus. No one in that conference is touching them. So I think we can all make a safe assumption that UConn goes undefeated, wins the Big East tournament with a hand tied behind their back, and will be the number 1 overall seed, even if some of these metrics aren't as high, right? Like UConn's strength of schedule is 32. The non-conference schedule is number 1. That just shows you how bad their conference schedule is.
Right.
UCLA, I think, is going to have a little more wiggle room because the Big Ten's more well-represented when it comes to teams in net ranking. Like, you got UCLA at 2, Michigan 6, Duke is, not Duke, they're not in the Big Ten. Minnesota, surprisingly, 10, Michigan State 11. like they are a little more littered throughout the top 15, top 20 when it comes to teams that are in the net ranking, and their overall strength of schedule is number 1. And right now, UCLA has 13 quad 1 wins. They are 13-1 in quad 1 games. That can only go up. I feel like, I don't know how many of these teams are going to drop out. They don't have I guess the Big Ten doesn't have a ton of teams that are kind of in the quad 1, quad 2 danger zone there. So certain wins might age out, certain ones might age better. But to have 13 quad 1 wins is pretty dominant, right? They can maybe lose another game or two and still be a 1 seed in this tournament. For South Carolina, maybe don't have as many quad 1 opportunities. They'll have a lot more at the end of the year when they get to Greenville. If they play Oklahoma again, that'd be good on the resume to say that you beat a team that beat you earlier in the season on a neutral floor this time. But looking at it that way, these we're really the 3 seed right now is between those two teams, and LSU sitting at 5 in the net. A loss against LSU can maybe drop you down a little bit. LSU right now 4-3 in quad 1 games. That would, if they win, would be 5-3, and then South Carolina 6-3. Then they are more comparable resumes. So there is a pathway to which you would be the 4th 1 seed, and I think that's the most undesirable spot out of all the 4 seeds, because if I'm going to play UConn, I want to play them in the national championship, not play them in the Final Four.
Yeah, completely agree. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and it's tough because, you got to go to Baton Rouge on a Saturday. Like, you're in prime time Saturday against one of the biggest budding SEC rivalries in women's basketball over the last, 4 years really now. Mm-hmm. And it's a big test, but I think right now, if I'm comparing this LSU game this weekend to the Oklahoma game a couple weeks ago, I was more worried about them going to Oklahoma in the middle of the week than I am about them going to Baton Rouge on a Saturday and taking on this LSU team. They're good. They're never not good for the most part, but they're just not as put together as teams we've seen in the past in the Bayou. I don't know. South Carolina has a chance to get more quad 1 wins, but the heater that they're on right now,
they're playing really good.
I mean, good night. What they did to Tennessee this weekend was just unbelievable. I mean, if they stay as hot as they are right now, I think that they've got a good chance to at least maybe move into that 3rd 1 seed and avoid UConn, which is the most desirable outcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my thing is, to the 2nd 1 seed or the 3rd 1 seed, doesn't matter as much to me. I just don't want to get that 4th one because of just how the bracket is going to go out. That was our first bracketology look of the season. But coming up next, I think we can all agree that handling adversity is a hallmark of any championship team. How has this team for Dawn Staley done when it comes to handling injury adversity? We'll break that down and hear her funny response to that question from Sunday coming up next here in the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Go to 1075thegame.com and check out this sweet deal. $50 to spend at Jay's Corner for only $12.50. Just click on Sweet Deals.
Now, when it comes to big tournament time, resumes are vitally important, just like what we went over in the previous segment. But I'll tell you right now, one person in a team that does not have a resume issue at all, and it is clear and far away better than any option you can get, is John Ecton and his team at the Ecton Law Firm. When it comes to having a resume for folks who need to hire somebody to take care of those tax issues, whether it's personal income tax issues or business tax issues, John and his team at the Ecton Law Firm have everything you want on that resume, including years of experience with proven local solutions that have helped thousands of families and businesses, just like yours, escape that IRS maze, and the full understanding of the challenges that you or your business can face when it comes to being in said IRS maze. Give them a call, 803-771-9800, or you can always visit them at ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTONlawfirm.com.
Sponsored by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Capital One offers no fees or minimums on checking accounts. And most Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One NA. Member FDIC.
From the heat of the flames to the roar of the crowd to the flashing lights and the waving towels, the experiences you'll have here can't be matched by staying at home. So make your plans to join us in Colonial Life Arena this basketball season. Single game tickets for Gamecock men's and women's basketball are on sale now. Visit GamecocksOnline.com to secure your tickets to catch a game at Colonial Life Arena.
Do you have sagging, soft, or bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Want to unlock the power of athlete marketing to grow your business? Garnet Trust has recently launched a business membership program, making it easier than ever for your business to work directly with a USC student athlete. Visit garnettrust.com today or call 803-250-1765 to see your business boom.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Paid for by Adaptive Health.
Start your day with the morning jolt of Drake C. Toll.
You've never been a football coach before, so you're not allowed to talk about this. No, I can have burnt mozzarella sticks and say the chef's not working.
Then Black and Abdallah.
Adam Abdallah.
That's what we do. We rank
Shots
quarterbacks.
Fired.
Okay.
And Westwood One Sports Night caps it all off.
I don't know how they're going to win, but they're going to win. We're open all night here on Westwood One.
Westwood One Sports Talk. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. It's the Game Network Traffic Report.
All right, seeing some heavy traffic right now and slow moving in places. I-26 inbound between Lake Murray Boulevard and down to Malfunction Junction. Not unusual for this time of the day, but really slow right now. Moving about 36 miles an hour at its fastest. So maybe add in a minute or two expected on your delay in this morning. Otherwise, we're moving along pretty well. No accidents to report. We have 74 for a high today under breezy conditions with 12-mile-an-hour winds at times. And overnight low 57. That's a change. Tomorrow 70 for a high, but 50% chance of those scattered showers. Weekend looks pretty good too, with 60s, mid 60s for your highs. This is Captain Dave with the Traffic Center.
The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Now, to me, there are a lot of things that make up a championship team and a championship season. And adversity is really one of the top things on there that I value in championship teams. How well do you handle things when things go wrong? Because over the course of a season, whether it is a 12-game regular season in football or a 30-plus game season in basketball, things will go wrong throughout the course of the season. Nobody ever just skates through unscathed. Unfortunately, in the sport that we're talking about, UConn and women's college basketball has seemingly had some seasons where just nothing went wrong that we know of. But for this year's South Carolina team, in the pursuit of another Final Four, to continue the Final Four streak, and in the pursuit of trying to get back to being the top dog in the entire sport, they've faced a little adversity this year. I think we've had more injury concerns with this team than we've had in the last few years, and it really all started with losing Chloe Kitts for the season back in October. And then you've had games this year where Tania Latson's not been available. You've had games where, like Sunday, where Maddie McDaniel wasn't available. And you've had games where Agat McKeer definitely has not been available. Injuries have kind of been a thing with this team so far this season. Thankfully, none that's kept people out for the season, but it's still been a thing. And I think they're starting to handle that incredibly well. And that's one of the reasons why I can buy in on them being a national championship team for this year, like you can almost count them in every year for it. But I thought Dawn's response to handling those injuries and moving on without some injured players is one of the best responses you could have to that. This was Dawn Staley on Sunday.
Well, we don't speak about the injured. We don't speak about them. We don't, if this happens or if she could play or that player could play, like we actually, quite frankly, we consider them dead. We do. Like it's not part of the game plan. They're unhealthy. So we just go with who is available. And that's the mentality that we need to have, because we don't need to, sulk on who's not here and what could happen. We just, whoever's available, it is the next woman up, and that's the way we practice. If we got 8, if we got 9, that's the way we practice. It may be shorter practices, but that's the way we handle it.
I love that response. To them, injured players, we consider them dead.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the right mentality to have, no doubt, because you can't make excuses or harp and say like, oh, well, if we would have had her, then we would have probably been just fine. Or if we would have been able to do this because we could run the offense differently, or our defense would play as different when, so-and-so's in the game versus when she's hurt. Like, no, you can't do that. You can't be one of the highest regarded programs in women's college basketball and have excuses because of somebody being out, right? And that's Dawn Staley's whole thing. I mean, I go back to even the scheduling conversation that happened a couple months ago with Vic Schaefer complaining about getting LSU and South Carolina back-to-back and making excuses for his entire team. And then, right. And that's a scheduling thing. That's not even an injury thing. I could not imagine what would happen if one of their stars got hurt. I don't think we'd hear the end of it from him. But that's the difference. Like, that's why Dawn, I respect that so much, other than... considering them dead is kind of crazy, but I love the way that
very funny.
The metaphor itself, yeah, absolutely. Because you're right. Again, at the end of the day, you still have to show up. Because somebody's not there doesn't mean you get to just say, oh, well, we tried, but so and so was hurt, so we can't do anything about that.
Yeah, there's still an expectation of winning. Yeah. That's what I love about it, is that mentality, because it's applicable to any sport. Right? It doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, baseball. We're going to be talking about this when it comes to the baseball team this year, because you already lost your projected Friday night starter before the season starts. Bo Hollins is dealing with an injury. Various players are dealing with injuries on that roster right now. And the expectation in that locker room should still be to win these games, especially early on for the baseball team, because you're playing in the non-conference against teams that you have more resources than, that you are definitely you're going to be better than. And you cannot lose those games early on if you want to continue to give the fan base hope that you're going to be able to contend in a very tough SEC slate. Injuries cannot be used as an excuse. You should still have that program expectation of being able to win. And I think that's what Dawn kind of reflected there. Have you ever heard the saying that if ifs and thans were pots and pans, the world would be a kitchen?
I'm not sure I have.
Well, today you have, and there's a lot of truth to that. People like us in our position can live in the world of ifs and thans and hypotheticals because that's just what we do. That's what makes sports talk. That's what makes discussing these sort of things plausible, right? Like, we can do that, but we're also not the ones participating in these events. You can't live in a hypothetical world when you are in the middle of that competition. The ifs and thans should be left to other people because you have to have that, for this team, that next woman up mentality and still expect to win every single game. That's what you build a program for, is to be able to withstand certain injury things. And a lot of times for teams, whether it be college or professional, when they do have a lot of injuries, I do take it into account for sure. But also, especially in a sport like football, everybody is hurt once you get into the 9th or 10th week of the season. Everybody's dealing with injuries. Who is more built to withstand the grind of the season is ultimately who I end up being a little more preferential to when it comes to projecting a champion.
Yeah, well, and to that point, I mean, I think about South Carolina's offensive line this past season and how many guys were out for a week, or like you lose Case and Henry so early in the season, and like after that, it was like you lost your best offensive lineman. Well, woe was me. Our offensive line's not good again because one person got hurt. No, like you can't. Yeah, that's where the way you build your team, it has to fall back to what kind of depth have you built. Like, did you properly build around your unit guys who can come in and be ready to go for SEC action? Like, that's part of the job. You have to be able
It's a big part
to
of the
build
job.
a roster to withstand the ups and downs of injuries throughout the season. When somebody can't go, it's next man up, it's next person up. And if you can't rise to the occasion, you might not be cut out for it. But also, the coaching staff has to take a step back and go, why did we pick this guy? Right? Like, why is it that we thought this was going to be so good and he cannot handle the pressure of SEC football? Things like that where you cannot have roster mismanagement, I guess.
For sure. And that's why when we bring it back to, football, is getting someone like Jakarius Peak exciting? Yes, because he is highly viewed as one of the best offensive linemen that was available in the transfer portal. That's a big win.
Yep.
But equally as important as getting somebody like Jakarius Peak is getting a player that if something were to happen to him, you can bring in and he'd be serviceable, right? It's hard to replace like for like, right? That's why we have a depth chart. That's why some are starters and some are backups and some are third stringers. But can you come in and be serviceable, right? Is there a catastrophic drop-off from starter to backup? And the teams that don't have that catastrophic drop-off are guys that can come in and be serviceable and still allow you to do what you want to do are the players that are incredibly valuable and that you need if you want to reach any type of goal that your team has before the season.
Well, again, I think it was Indiana in the national championship that lost their left tackle pretty early on. And granted, their left tackle that came in replacement, he got blown up a couple times. He got beat off the line a couple times, but he did enough to let that Indiana offense continue to do what it's supposed to do. And that's where you sit there and go, they got a guy. He might not have been the starter, and he certainly didn't play like it, but he got the job done, and they won a national championship. So
that's one of the reasons a lot of people would pick Indiana for their Team Crush Tuesday. But it's a new week. It's Tuesday. We'll tell you who we're crushing on this week in the world of sports coming up next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
This Odyssey Sports Minute is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The Seattle Seahawks were super impressive in winning Super Bowl 60, but let's be real, it's one of the worst Super Bowls ever played. Super Bowl 53, Patriots 13, Rams 3 was bad, but at least that game was close. This was a snooze fest from start to finish. Congratulations to Seattle. Also, the game stunk. I'm Nick Costos.
Ah, the most beautiful time of year is upon us. Tax season. And Tax Slayer is here to help you file. we guarantee 100% accuracy and your maximum refund. Those are some good numbers. And you can trust me, because I'm a talking calculator. Did I mention TaxSlayer even has support from real US-based humans? If you have any questions along the way, beat the rush and start for free today. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots.
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Life matters. Roots are important. A few years ago, I tried to eradicate a stand of bamboo, and I learned the hard way that until the roots of the plant was dealt with, the bamboo would keep coming back. Of course, roots can be good too. They also mean that even if the surface growth is destroyed, roots can ensure a return of the plant. Nations have roots as well. In America, we have some great ones. Take this one, for example. It is impossible to rightly govern a nation without God in the Bible. That wasn't the opinion of some Bible-thumping preacher. It was the heartfelt belief of our founding father, George Washington. That statement is no-frilled and straightforward, a simple idea, but full of implication for a society that has largely forgotten our roots. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty from Christian Life Church. Visit us on the web at ChristianLifeColumbia.com or join us in Sunday worship. Remember, friends, life matters, and so do you.
The Early Game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
To once again remove my regular glasses and put on the heart-shaped glasses. You know why? Because it's Team Crush Tuesday, and it's time to crush on some teams. Nick Harvey gets to participate. Yep, he found the glasses. Preston left them behind for him. So now, with that being said, we can hit it, Dave. Down at the bottom. There we go. Yeah. No song gets me more in the mood to dance than this one right here. But what I see when I put on the Team Crush Tuesday glasses, now we get to get really creative with it because during football season we find, different. Now we can look through all types of sports.
Yeah.
But been watching a lot of hoops. And locally, semi-locally, the Charlotte Hornets were on a win streak. Now that win streak got snapped last night. However, they were not afraid of the Detroit Pistons. And the boys scrapped last night.
Yeah, they did.
We had a tussle. Punches were thrown. I can't confirm if any punches were landed, but Moussa Diabate and Miles Bridges for the Hornets ejected from the game. Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart for the Pistons ejected from the game. And there will probably be some suspensions, especially for Isaiah Stewart, who left the bench to throw hands with Miles Bridges. Always a big no-no. It's an automatic ejection anyway. But then when you get off the bench and then you're throwing hands, you're probably going to get a little more of a suspension than anybody else. But going into that game, they had a historic win streak, their longest since 1999 in 2000. And we said it before, we don't talk NBA a ton on here, but early at the beginning of the season, Preston asked what I thought about the Hornets. I said they may not be good, but they'll definitely be fun because it's a good offensive lineup. Well, they're starting to turn it around defensively a little bit. Like, they can guard a little bit, enough to where I will say that since the turn of the calendar, the Hornets have not just been fun, they've been good.
Yeah.
They've been playing really well, and they're beating really good teams, some of them on the road, like the Los Angeles Lakers, the Houston Rockets. They've shown they can beat some really solid teams. And right now they are holding the final play-in spot, and they're still about 3 or 4 games, I guess, behind the 6th seed, which is the last seed you can get without having to play in the play-in tournament for the NBA. There's still a lot of game left, a lot of season to be had. And all I know is they play Detroit again this season. I'll pull up the schedule. I've not taken a deep dive into the schedule. They play Detroit again this season. That is a must-watch game because now we have a little bit of hatred involved with those two teams. And they will play on Friday, April 10th.
There's nothing better than like something like this happening, how it does, and then you know that you get to see that team again. Like, it's just going to be fun to watch. It's endless entertainment because you're just waiting to see who starts it next time. Like, is there anything that carries over? Are they going to be moderate? Is it going to get out of hand? You don't know, but it's going to get you glued to the screen. You're going to be ready to watch it.
Whereas at the beginning of the season, you're like, Hornets, Pistons, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that happens, and I'm going,
Oh, okay.
You can catch me watching on April 10th.
Yeah, April 10th.
It's going to happen.
Schedule's freed up a little bit. I'll be able to, I might go to that game. I might actually make the drive to go watch that game to see if anybody's throwing hands.
It's worth it, I think. Pivot here I'm gonna go Olympic route here for Team Crush Tuesday. I'm gonna take the U.S. Olympic women's hockey team because right now
they look good, dude.
Nobody can get in their way. It's almost disrespectful if you try. Like, 2 shutouts in the round robins that they've played so far.
They got a sledgehammer to Switzerland yesterday.
They really did. Oh man, some of those goals were beautiful. And it's the thing where like not a lot of people around here pay a ton of attention to hockey until it's an Olympic year, and then you see a lot of people kind of get tuned in just because, hey, we're all going to support Team USA. And especially like the women's hockey rivalry between Canada and the U.S. is so entertaining. And we get to watch it renewed this afternoon when they play at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
It's going to be a dogfight. They're in the same preliminary grouping, so this is their last game before all the actual tournament play starts. I'm fired up. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Because when you've beaten people the way they have, and then you get clearly the next best, like the best team.
Yeah.
We'll see how good, how good of a buzzsaw you've become, whenever you have to play Canada.
Yeah, and it's so much respect to that team, though. I mean, Hillary Knight breaking the record of the most Olympic appearances for anybody on a USA hockey team with 5. I mean, that's crazy.
Longevity.
That's crazy. That's what? That's a 20? Trying to make sure that my math is right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a 20-year span of playing in the Olympics.
Me and math have not had a great relationship in the last 24 hours here on the program. Another one that I've got, Miami of Ohio men's basketball. Because after Arizona got beat by Kansas last night, there is now one singular undefeated team in men's college basketball, and that is the Red Hawks of Miami, Ohio. Just the way we all drew it up. Nobody can really name a lot of players on that team, but they've won a lot of one-score games. They played Buffalo twice this year, and they've had to win either in overtime or at the buzzer on both of those. This past weekend, they went to Marshall, and a really cool thing that they're doing, the Sun Belt and MAC are doing a Sun Belt MAC challenge. They went to Marshall, one of the better teams in the Sun Belt, and destroyed them in Huntington on the road. The game was not particularly close. In Miami, Ohio, they're shooting a lot of threes, and they're making a lot of threes, and they're doing it without Wally Zerbiak. Hey, walking through that door still doesn't matter. One more hour to go. We will kick off hour number 3 by taking our first look at the entirety of the Lamont Paris era. That's next.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
They say perfection is a journey. Well, that journey led us to Carolina Stone Craftsman just outside Columbia in Chapin. We had a couple bathrooms that we were doing some updates to. Got the cabinetry all taken care of, needed countertops, and we were recommended to head up there. First time we went, we just toured their showroom, which is incredible. You've got to check that out. They now have an outdoor showroom that they're finishing up to show you more of what they can do as far as outdoor hardscapes are concerned. But our process with everything inside, as far as countertops in those bathrooms, went beautifully. They were very helpful in the process and figuring out what exactly we needed, and all facets of the installation went beautifully. So I'm encouraging you that if you need any kind of countertops for your kitchen or bath, reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. They're family-owned and operated, Carolina Stone Craftsman, just beyond Columbia in Chapin and definitely beyond your expectations. They are carolinastonecraftsman.com.
Lexington Health has been named a meritorious hospital by the American College of Surgeons for achieving exceptional surgical patient outcomes. Find world-class surgical care close to home. Visit lexhealth.com to learn more.
Sponsored by Audible. It's time to take care of you. Who better to help you than the top voices in well-being on Audible? Kickstart your well-being journey with your first audiobook free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com/wellbeing.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
But I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud. What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage. I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Start your spring cleaning early and get an insanely clean home with Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Take 20% off standard cleaning services when you mention my name, Elijah Campbell, at 1075 The Game, or book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 1075 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 1075 The Game app. It's the Game Network Traffic Report.
All right, taking a look at the roads. We're still doing well as far as accidents go. Traffic is moving along about as normal for this time of the day. A little heavy traffic coming in on 26 and also coming in on 378 from West Columbia and Lexington this morning. Your weather outlook, breezy today with a high of 74 degrees. Tomorrow, 70 for a high. Scattered showers are likely, though, 50% chance of that. Your Thursday, 63 for your high. Your overnight lows are in the 40s and to the upper 30s through Friday. 60 for your high on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Looking pretty good, 64 and 63 for each of those days. But Sunday, we'll see some rain moving in. 70% chance of those showers on your Sunday. So a little bit of problem there. Monday, we'll start back with 64 for your high.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. It's caught! The early game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network and streaming on the 1075 The Game app.
I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Nick Harvey. He's Captain Dave Adair. And in the video production room here at Studio 803, our pal Rachel is hanging out with us, making sure everything looks nice on the YouTube stream, which, if you haven't subscribed already, you should go ahead and do so because we are really close to a very special subscriber goal. We're almost there. So if you haven't done it, if for anything, do it for me.
Yeah.
My birthday's coming up, so if you just want to give me a birthday present, just subscribe.
Happy early birthday.
Why, thank you.
Yeah.
Feel older and older every day.
Well, that's one way to interpret it, yeah.
So whenever it gets to that day, I'm not going to feel significantly older.
I get. So it's more of like an anticipation thing? Like you just kind of trying to get ahead of the curve?
I guess so.
Okay.
In a way.
All right.
In a way. Still got a lot of youth left in me, though.
Yeah.
Now, in the week leading up to the Super Bowl, Preston and I, we did our own series, our own kind of like 5-part series of From Cooked to Cooking, the Sam Darnold story. And we got inspired to do the thing where we carve out a segment of the show where we take a topic and we look at it and break it up into 4 or 5 different spots. And the series that we wanted to start us on is taking a look at the Lamont Paris era at South Carolina. We're getting closer to the end of the season, and I think we've all kind of accepted the fate that this team will not be playing in the NCAA tournament. And depending on your level of optimism, you might have lost that early this year. If you are more of an optimist than a pessimist, you might have held on a little more hope once we got into SEC play. But I think it's safe that we have a sample size. We can look at everything, right? If we can try to chronicle the entire journey and look at it through the course of these 4 years. And I wanted to start off with part 1 of this by discussing the hire, what needed to happen for him to be brought on a board, and also how that first year went. Because to me, that was really a year 0 kind of for him. He was able to get G.G. Jackson, but he kind of had to pull a lot of players together, and there were a lot of learning lessons the hard way in that first year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to describe maybe my personal feelings, because more often than not in this era with Lamont Paris, we've seen a lot of, I think, disappointment where there should have been a lot of success to celebrate. And yes, there is a significant gap of jumping into SEC basketball, who over time has now become more of having some of these blue blood programs, right? Like, I mean, it's obviously the ACC still produces top-notch, top-tier teams, but like the SEC was a big learning curve, I'm sure, for Lamont Paris. I mean, it had to have been. And now we're in this is year...
This is year 4.
Yeah, year 4, and there comes a point where that learning curve is no longer a learning curve, and it's now you've done it, you've been there, you've been doing it, and you've only had 1 year of really sustained success and a lot of fun to watch a certain team play.
And now when it comes to looking at the hire initially, there are a lot of things that had to happen for him to kind of be on the radar of people. And one of my favorite things about the month of March and the whole March Madness experience isn't just the NCAA tournament. It's a lot of just getting to the NCAA tournament, right? Getting to the NCAA tournament is one of the biggest things for mid-major coaches because it puts you on the radar for bigger jobs. And Chattanooga doesn't get to the NCAA tournament if David Jean-Baptiste does not hit what looked like maybe a 35-foot follow-away three-pointer at the buzzer to beat Furman, and which to me is one of my favorite college basketball games of all time, was that 2022 SoCon championship game. That was a remarkable basketball game, and clearly there were a lot of effects. And it wasn't just that, too. They gave Illinois hell in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Illinois won the Big Ten regular season title, and Illinois trailed Chattanooga, coached by Lamont Paris, up until the final 25 seconds of that game. I think Chattanooga got up to a 20-6 lead, if I recall, and then Illinois kind of fought their way back, and it ended up being a game in the 50s, right? It was a very low-scoring game, but Illinois ended up winning. And 24 hours later, Lamont Paris is talking to Ray Tanner in the University of South Carolina. And I went back and I listened to the introductory press conference, and I wanted to play a few clips here from that to kind of refresh our memory on what the thought process was when it came to bringing Lamont here. And the first thing I want to play is this going to be cut number 9, Dave. This is Lamont talking about how he thought he won over Ray Tanner in the interview process to become the South Carolina head coach.
I don't know. I mean, here's what probably had a little more weight in the whole thing than what I anticipated. I know. I'm going to be right on that line. So stuff happens so fast. It's just how it happens. And I get the call, and again, I'm down in the dumps based on how the game went, and so all of a sudden there's a spark, and I'm excited again. And I get a call that says, hey, can you be down here? This is Saturday. We played on Friday. The call comes on Saturday. It says, hey, can you be down there for an interview on Sunday? And I said, sure. I'd love to get down there for an interview on Sunday. And so we started looking at airline tickets, and there's a 2-hour for American. There's a 2-hour buffer. You must buy your ticket before that window hits. And I was right up against that window, and didn't seem like I was going to make it. So I jumped in my car and I drove down here, and it was about 5 hours. And we get down here, and I don't think Coach even knew that. And he said, hey, well, we would have sent the plane up there for you. And I said, Coach, I didn't know that you were going to send a plane up there for me. I didn't do this for fun. But so I think that made a lasting impression on him, and just who I was in a lot of different ways. One, I'm an old school guy that way, right? I don't think people do that these days near as much when it's not a certainty that you're going to get the job. So I think that was really good. And then two, I think it said a lot about my interest in this position and what I thought about it and what I thought about the school and the university and the program. And actions speak louder than words, they say. And that was a pretty powerful action.
And that's what he believed helped kind of win him over, Ray Tanner a little bit. And I think that showed his willingness to be able to come here. I think whenever there is a South Carolina coaching search, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, I think one thing a lot of fans really want is somebody who has that burning desire to be here. And I think even on the heels of a very heartbreaking, disappointing loss to Chattanooga, he really had the desire to make that move up. And that was one of the things that ultimately ended up getting him here outside of what he just did, coaching that Mocs team.
Right. Well, and that's for me, the big takeaway is, and this is something that I've never doubted with Lamont Paris, is his commitment to this team. It was evident from the rip that he wanted to be here. He, I think, had a lot of respect for the program and what it was with Frank Martin when he was here in Columbia, and he wanted to be that next step of success for the Gamecocks. He wanted to come take over a team and take them back to a high pedestal that they, maybe didn't consistently have, but they delivered, and they were at least a competitive team year in and year out for the most part with Frank Martin. And I think those expectations were there in year one, if we're calling the first year zero.
Right.
Yeah. He gets them to the tournament. They have an unbelievable season. And then, ever since then, it's just been so up and down. And I don't know if that's a lack of, again, we talked about it earlier with transfer portal and how you're building your depth, whether that's a lack of scouting and just missing on guys that they really thought that they were building a great roster around. But, I mean, the team this year, I just think 9 times out of 10 gets out-physicaled and out-energized every single time that they hit the court. There's a certain lack of, I don't want to say motivation, but I do think there's something at fault where these guys just aren't keeping up with the teams that they're playing against night in and night out. But I don't think that that's any fault of the coaching staff. I do think Lamont Paris still has a lot of energy. It's evident he's disappointed, right? It would be one thing if he comes into a post-game press conference and says, well, we did what we could do. No, he's upset. He's frustrated. And I respect that he hasn't quit on this team. But and it would be easy to do so in a year like this. You have what you did last year, and then you come back this year, and you're getting the same results. I don't know. I just he's one of those guys where I've met him a handful of times now. He's the nicest guy, and it's one of those things where you don't want to see someone who is such a good person not perform well. I want to watch him succeed, but it's just here we are again,
And one thing that I like to do when going to introductory press conferences, I've covered a few in my time. I like to watch them whenever I can because coaches will be upfront about how they want to play. Now, this one was a little different because it's funny, a couple of coaching cycles ago, someone put a compilation of a lot of those introductory press conferences, and almost every single time, we're going to play fast, we're going to play fast, we're going to play fast. It became the greatest buzzword in an introductory coaching press conference you could possibly imagine. But here's what Lamont said. This week, Cut 8, Dave, about his style of play and his philosophy when it comes to style of play.
We're going to play solid defense, right? I'm going to be regimented on the defensive end. I'm going to be loose and free on the offensive end. I keep making the joke, but it's the honest to goodness truth. If you can't be a confident offensive player playing for me as coach, then you just aren't going to be a confident offensive player. It's not going to happen. So we identify areas that guys are going to be successful. Then my job is to push a couple buttons maybe to get them somewhere near those situations. And then at that point, you know what happens? They do their thing. It's on them. They do their thing. If they like the shot, I have to love it. I don't have a lot of say-so on it at that point, okay? So it's a pretty good philosophy. Guys have liked playing for me. They've really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's for some of the jokes I tell or if it's because they like, the way I let them play. I think it's probably more of the latter than the former, so.
And so you heard his philosophy on play style. How much of that do you think has been portrayed in the 4 years that we've seen, almost 4 complete seasons that we've seen from him so far?
I think the year that they went to the tournament, they were a team that was really good at slowing down the pace of play. I remember specifically that game that I think it was when they beat Tennessee. Was it on the road at Tennessee that they won?
Against
I remember
Dalton Connect
that game. That game specifically. I'm sitting there going like, this team could do it. Like if there's any team that gets back to the Final Four, the way that they can dominate the pace of play, and when all these teams want to play fast, you talked about the buzzword. Like coaches always say, like we're going to be the fastest team. We're going to have quick transition points. We're going to do this and that and the other. But they were such a good defensive team that they were able to make stops on those quick transition teams and then adversely go right back down and take the full shot clock almost to run a successful offensive play. And it was so impressive to watch. It really was. Other times, like especially this year when, you come into the preseason saying we're going to be a team that shoots the 3 ball, and at times it does feel like it's a lot of forced error on their own part where because they live and die by the 3 or they say they live and die by the 3, it doesn't give you maybe the spacing that you're looking for on the floor, but also it's just a bunch of guys who are you're hoping can get open on the 3-point line and drop a bucket. And that's just not a recipe for success. You can't do that, especially not in the SEC, and especially when all the other teams that you're playing know that's what you're going to try to do. That's when you have to change up your strategies a little bit. And it just, time and time again, I just feel like it hasn't. We haven't seen a major change in philosophy that, it doesn't need to be drastic because now you're too deep. Like you can't change your entire offense right now, but there's a way to make it work.
Now, defensively, I think what he has said has come true until this year.
Yeah.
Now, the first year, if you look at where they ranked in adjusted defensive efficiency, they ranked 226th in that first year. And then the next year, the tournament year, they were ranked 71st. Last year, they were inside the top 50. They were 49th. They were technically better defensively last year than they were the year they made the tournament. This year, they have fallen back down to, as we stand, 101st in the country in adjusted efficiency. Now, what he did kind of prophesize in terms of being rigid on the defensive side of the ball has come true a little bit. I think when we start continuing the series, we'll talk about whether or not it's the offensive evolution or maybe lack thereof that is maybe putting a cap on what the success can be outside of that second year. So we'll continue this throughout the week, taking a kind of a holistic look at the Lamont Paris era at South Carolina and where we go from here. But coming up next, talk about that buzzsaw that's also on campus and playing at CLA. They are in firm control of their destiny in the SEC. What do we make of that? We'll discuss coming up next here in the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialist of the Midlands. Request your consultation today at qckinetics.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
The Gant family with Pioneer Tree Service has been taking care of trees in Columbia and surrounding areas for over 48 years. Pioneer Tree Service provides tree and shrub removal, pruning and thinning, tree planting, cabling and bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding and removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, right-of-way maintenance, and more. They also provide 24-hour emergency tree removal. They can also handle the removal of diseased and dead trees before an emergency happens. Call them today for a free estimate. 803-794-8253. The Gant family and their team at Pioneer Tree Service can be trusted to provide professional and quality tree services with affordable pricing for residential or commercial jobs. Ashton Smith called Pioneer Tree Service and said they came when she was leaving for work, and when she got home, the tree was gone as if it was never there. She was so impressed with Pioneer Tree Service, she will definitely use them again. Here's one of the Gant girls, Madison Gant.
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253 or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
Too tough to tame? Try too rough to ride. Nothing about this place lets you sit back. It rips up your tires and tears at your heart. Let's go! History, glory, consequences. That's Darlington, where stripes are well earned. The Goodyear 400. NASCAR's best face the lady in black. And this spring, how about that? She'll leave her mark. Hell yeah, boys! NASCAR Weekend at Darlington Raceway, March 20th through the 22nd. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
Want to unlock the power of athlete marketing to grow your business? Garnet Trust has recently launched a business membership program, making it easier than ever for your business to work directly with a USC student athlete. Visit garnettrust.com today or call 803-250-1765 to see your business boom.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code COIN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code COIN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code COIN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. It's the Game Network Traffic Report.
All right, on the roads right now, we're looking pretty good on the interstates. Coming in this morning, downtown is mostly where we go. See some congestion down on Assembly, Sumter, and Gervais coming in. Of course, Elmwood as well this morning and coming in around USC. Also, a lot of traffic down there. Be careful as you drive. Also, weather outlook for today, 74 for your high, breezy at times. Tomorrow, 70 for a high. Scattered showers are likely, 50% chance of those. 63 for your high on Thursday. Friday, 60. Saturday and Sunday, highs in the mid-60s. 64 Saturday, 63 for your Sunday. But Sunday will see a 70% chance of showers, mainly in the afternoon. they'll be moving in. Monday will clear up a bit, and we'll get back to the 60s once again. It's Captain Dave in the traffic center.
The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Now, there's only a handful of games left for the South Carolina women's basketball team. You're on the road at LSU. You're at Alabama. You host Ole Miss, you host Missouri, and you're at Kentucky to end the season. With the exception of Missouri, poor Kelly Harper has never really bounced back from losing that game when she was the coach at Tennessee in the semifinals of the SEC tournament a few short years ago. But aside from that game, everything from here on out is a quad-1 game. And every game from here on out is a chance to get one step closer to winning the SEC title, because this team officially, after beating Tennessee, who was the only other undefeated team in league play, now controls their own destiny when it comes to winning an SEC title. Now, this program's kind of advanced beyond just being incredibly excited about SEC titles, because this is a national championship caliber program. They will be judged by what happens in the month of March, and if they're able to play on that first Sunday in April. But I'm still one of those. You take every victory that you can, and you enjoy every title you win. And I think it is really cool that this team on campus is continuously winning regular season SEC titles. I think winning a regular season title is harder than winning the tournament. Now, the tournament is where the hoopla comes in. That's where you get a lot of the fun drama. And I love conference tournaments. As much as I even love the regular season, I love conference tournaments. But it's harder to win your conference regular season title. And I'll always believe that. But how does Dawn Staley view controlling their own destiny when it comes to winning an SEC regular season title? Now, they only have one loss in league play. That was to Oklahoma. The only other team that has got a league loss, or has got 2 league losses behind you that I think is a legitimate threat, is Texas. LSU's got 3 losses in league play, so you really have to kind of, lose to LSU and then lose another game down the road for LSU to even be able to catch you. But they will have the tiebreaker if they do beat you. So there's a pathway, right? But because you beat Texas, that is the tiebreaker that will be used, and you only play them once. What does Dawn have to say about the opportunity that her team has at hand at controlling their own destiny in the SEC? Here's what she said on Sunday.
I mean, it's the same role for us. Like, it's the same exact role where we've been the top team in this league and taking on everybody's best. I'm hoping it works adversely, for our opponents. Like, they play so hard that it gets them out of whack. And I hope we just stay calm with just dealing with the wave of pressure that comes with this normal pressure. It's the normal pressure of being at the top of our conference, being a team that's won a national championship. We get people's best. So I hope at some point it backfires on them.
It's certainly a way to look at it. Maybe, other teams are going to exert that type of effort to try to beat you, that they play uncharacteristically, which certainly is a possibility. But this is a really tough stretch of the schedule. Again, you're at number 6 LSU on Saturday, and that game's big for a multitude of reasons. At Alabama, who's number 23, even though you did, beat the hell out of them the one time they played at CLA to kick off SEC play. Ole Miss is really good this year. They're 19-5. They're a top 15 team in the country, but you get them at home. And then at Kentucky is going to be an interesting test. I think Kentucky, to me, is underachieved a little bit. I expect them to be a little bit better, but still a good basketball team. They control their own destiny, Nick Harvey. What do you think that does in terms of change, if it does change, how they play here in this final stretch?
I don't know if it does. I mean, the way that they've played the last few stretch of games here has just been so incredibly impressive that right now, if I'm Dawn Staley or if I'm anybody on that coaching staff, why change anything? You're going to get teams' best, but you're getting teams' best already, and you're beating them by 30 to 40 points. So, I mean, it's hard to say that there should be anything that changes. I do think what presents an interesting challenge, for me at least, is them going to Alabama. I know they handled them pretty well earlier in the season at home, but there is a little bit of a track record of struggles when they go to Tuscaloosa. And so I do think, just based on that historical aspect, you could see maybe a little bit of an uncharacteristic night from the Gamecocks, but I don't think that causes like a mass, a hysteria type event where they lose. I still think that they go in and take care of business. I just think at least one more game, I feel like down the stretch, you might see them face a little bit of a tougher challenge. I think depending on how this Saturday goes, maybe that is the tough challenge, and after this they can just keep on rolling. But they're just playing so well right now that it's hard for me to visualize a world where they need to make any different adjustments and turn anything around. They don't have anything to turn around. They've already done it, and they're just obliterating SEC competition right now. It's hard to fathom like anybody presenting a serious threat right now.
Because they're going to play some good teams. But the only game that I'm looking at where I'm like, we could sweat this one out a little bit is still going to be that LSU game that you're playing on ABC in prime time at LSU. It's going to be a hostile environment, right? And we saw what that environment was like a couple years ago when you went on the road and it took a Bree Hall 3 late in the game to end up winning it. I think we're going to get a similar type of game because of the emotion behind that game. And LSU is, quite frankly, a really, really good basketball team. I think one of the 5 best teams. I know they're number 6 right now. I could make the argument that's one of the 5 best teams in college basketball. They have a lot of firepower, especially on the offensive side of the ball. That's going to present an incredible challenge for them. But the one thing, too, where you mentioned that Alabama game, it's the fact that it's on the road. And some of the games they've played this year where they maybe haven't played their best, like, when they went to Texas A&M, and they won because they're just that much better than A&M. But they didn't play what I would consider to be their best basketball. You go look at their game at Florida, right? Florida's 15-11. It's a pedestrian SEC team, and they won by only 11. It's still a double-digit win, but you watch that game and you're like, that's not their best. They've had some of those. Yeah, they win by double figures, but they didn't look their best games on the road. How they're still able, if they're still able to take a team like Alabama that they beat by almost 30 points at home on New Year's Day and be able to go on the road and replicate that, I think that is a good positive sign, too, that this team is now clicking to the point where they can handle business wherever they play, whether it's at CLA or not.
Well, and I think, this Saturday, too, you've got the underlying storyline that will be talked about.
Yep.
It's going to come up a lot this week. It's going to come up on the broadcast. I wonder how the emotions of that situation specifically affects the way LSU or South Carolina plays, because you're seeing a former teammate for the first time, and that's definitely going to present a very compelling element to this whole story, because now you're not only talking about this rivalry and how important these games are every single year, because typically these are the 2 top dogs in the SEC. Now you got a former player who is a showstopper at times when she was with South Carolina and Malaysia Fulwiley, and that's going to be I'm very intrigued by that. It's fun because you're going to see what kind of player shows up. Is it the player that is real caught up in the emotions, or is this a locked-in version that we've seen before that puts on somewhat of a clinic? It's going to be a really intriguing game Saturday.
That's what's so exciting. This is the one game when you look at the schedule before the season started, I think everyone circled as the game that they're most excited for. And we're getting it here in less than a week. Coming up next to talk about that game and how this team has been on a roll, our pal Lulu Kesson from the Greenville News will join us. We'll hear from Lulu, hear what her breakdown is of the team's recent success and this mega matchup that's going on Saturday night. That's next here in the early game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
so much going on around here, but we have plenty of stuff that we can promote because the 107.5 The Game spring golf outing is April 3rd. And you're like, Elijah, that's still like, a month, some change away. Well, it will come up faster than you can blink, and that's going to be at Charwood in West Columbia. $100 per player, $400 per team, a 9:30 a.m. shotgun start, and the tee-off golf gun is back. Always a big draw to this event. So to secure your spot, call Charwood today at 803-755-2000. I can't read. And press number 2 for the clubhouse to sign up for the 107.5 The Game annual spring golf outing.
Sponsored by Mattress Firm. Score major deals on top brands at Mattress Firm's President's Day sale. Find your dream mattress today. Their sleep experts are highly trained to find the right one to fit your unique needs. They make sleep easy.
Start your spring cleaning early and get an insanely clean home with Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Take 20% off standard cleaning services when you mention my name, Elijah Campbell, at 107.5 The Game, or book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Get a free second pair of glasses with insurance at iMart Express. Now with an upgraded selection of over 150 frames to choose from. Pick one for when you're busy doing nothing, and one for when you're up for anything. Plus, with free same-day speed, go from booking an eye exam to walking out with new glasses in a blink. So you can take your vision benefits further, faster. iMart Express. Get glasses, go see.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Paid for by Adaptive Health.
We know what it's like when you're injured. You hurt, you can't work, you can't pay your bills, and the insurance company won't return your calls. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're here for you when things go bad. We're local, resourceful, and have a proven record of success.
I'm Stephen Samuels. Our team is big enough to handle any case and small enough to care about each one.
We get South Carolina because we're true South Carolina. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app. It's the Game Network Traffic Report.
All right, ending the morning drive-in with a couple of accidents. Highway 6, this is going to be at Big Hickory Lane and Blackville Road. Also, we have a wreck at Percival Road and Clemson Road this morning. Weather outlook, 74 for your high today. Breezy, though, at times. Tomorrow, 70 for a high, 50% chance of showers, mainly in the afternoon. 63 for your Thursday high, 40 for your overnight low. Friday, 60 for a high. Saturday and Sunday, 64 Saturday, 63 for Sunday, but a 70% chance of rain for your Sunday. So that might bring it down just a little bit. Then Monday we'll start out the week. A very nice week with highs in the 60s, and by Thursday, up in the 70s. That should be really, really good. This is Captain Dave in the Traffic Center.
Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
It's time to phone a friend, which the second best strategy that you could do on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, statistically speaking. Now, asking the crowd, funny enough, had a higher success rate than phoning a friend on that show, which I always thought was an interesting element to it. If you remember Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, back in its heyday, I should say. But we will phone a friend, and we are expecting, as she always does, the results from Lulu Kesson from the Greenville News. Lulu, appreciate you waking up early with us and hanging out with us on the early game.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm always happy to talk with you.
See, always happy to talk to us, even when her beloved Patriots lose in the Super Bowl. But she was a good sport about it. She's got great perspective on it. I think Lulu feels confident that the Patriots will be back.
Yeah, and it's funny to think about that. You had me on the show in August, and you were like, are the Patriots making the Super Bowl? And I was like, no. So a little bit of a bandwagon in that regard. But I'm confident that Drake May still has a very bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say bandwagon as much as you were realistic, because I don't think anybody actually expected them to be able to make the run that they did to play in the Super Bowl. But when it comes to this women's basketball team, Lulu, I think we do all expect them to be able to make a run back to where their season ended last year, which was that first Sunday in the month of April, where they played the UConn Huskies, and it didn't go the way they wanted to. This is a little bit of another revenge tour of a way, but at times this year, it looked like this team was still putting it together, but in this past week, you beat Mississippi State by 40+, and then you beat the team that you were tied with at the top of the SEC standings by 40+, in a beatdown that program, that historic program, has never experienced before. What are your kind of biggest takeaways from the last two 40+ point wins that this team's experienced?
Yeah, I mean, it still just kind of sticks out to me, the fact that a program like Tennessee, obviously we know they have a rich history of success, but just to think that that was the worst loss their program has ever suffered is kind of crazy. I think particularly with Tennessee, what really impressed me about South Carolina is that they did well in ways that, you know, all of us have been critical and seen them struggle. Things like breaking a press, handling pressure, passing the ball in an offensive set when you have a lot of really fast guards on you. And I think that the last two games obviously were dominant offensively, but defensively they held both opponents under 30% shooting, and that's hard to do in an SEC game. You know, you can sit here and look at Mississippi State's record or say Tennessee struggles in certain, you know, three-point shooting, whatever. Like, it's still South Carolina's defense that's forcing these teams into really poor shots, and I think you can, you know, take your team really far if you're disciplined on the defensive end, and I think that was on full display the last two games.
I think another thing that's been on full display, too, is maybe a little bit of in-season development from Joyce Edwards. And there are times this year where I think Joyce kind of rushes herself at the basket and might leave a few points on the table, or if she does kind of see a double team, that there is maybe a sense of maybe being overwhelmed. But in the last two games, teams are still giving her the same type of defensive attention, but she's handling doubles better, she's finishing a lot better around the basket, and the numbers are certainly reflecting that.
Yeah, and I think from the Oklahoma game specifically, where, let's be honest, she just played really bad and was a little selfish at time with the ball, wasn't necessarily seeing teammates, whether that was intentional or not. She was double-teamed, whatever. I think the last few games, and since that moment, I mean, I think about the play that she made diving on the floor at Texas A&M. There was one play against Tennessee where, you know, Raven had her bring the ball up. She had a guard on her. She took it all the way, stopped, dropped it into Medina Okot, who had the mismatch inside. Easy 2 points. I think she's just seeing the floor so much better as well. But exactly to your point, offensively, I think she's just a little bit, you know, a half second slower in a good way. And I think she's mentally maturing sort of game by game. And that's a bad sign for opponents and a great sign for South Carolina.
Now we get to the fun part. Lulu Kesson from the Greenville News, who's on with us right now. The mega matchup on Saturday. This team is going to get to take center stage for all of college basketball, not just women's college basketball. This is the biggest game in college basketball this weekend when South Carolina goes to Baton Rouge to take on LSU. how much of the emotion behind this matchup, which has been emotional before in the last few years, including a scuffle at the SEC tournament in Greenville, now having an extra added element of having to face Malaysia Fulwiley, a former member of the South Carolina team, how much of that emotion do you think is going to end up maybe impacting how these teams play in this game on Saturday?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of hype, and I feel like it could probably go one or two ways, where all the emotional elements that we all expect are there, or it just feels like another competitive game, which I think, honestly, the easy part in some ways is on South Carolina, in the sense that they don't have the emotional pressure that Malaysia Fulwiley will likely feel facing her old team. But for South Carolina, this is going to be the most difficult road game that they've played in, and an environment that they kind of create for opponents in Colonial Life Arena. And obviously last year with the DJ situation, there's a lot that's happened between these two teams, which from my understanding, they're all still pretty good friends. So I'm curious to see what the actual game comes to be. But I think that, someone asked Kim Mulkey yesterday or 2 days ago about handling that emotion for Malaysia, and she was basically just like a competitor wants to do well against their former team, but Malaysia doesn't have any bitterness towards South Carolina. So I think it's going to be high-level basketball. You have two teams that can score, and you have two teams that can defend. But for South Carolina, in my eyes, you look really good if you pick up a road win over a good LSU team and, continue to be the only one-loss SEC team.
Lulu Kesson from the Greenville News is on with us right now. Last thing for you, Lulu. When we look at this game from a basketball perspective, how does LSU give South Carolina one of their biggest challenges of the year? What is South Carolina going to have to do to neutralize that?
I think South Carolina they're going to want steals. They're going to want to force turnovers. I think empty possessions will hurt South Carolina. I think that there have been times with this team where they string 2 to 3 kind of bad plays together. I think against a team like LSU, that could be a total difference maker. And in my eyes, I think that's what happened last year. Raven Johnson scored 4 points in about 5 seconds, and that totally stole all momentum that I think LSU never really got back. So I think South Carolina has to be really careful with their shot selection. That isn't to say they shouldn't shoot the ball. They have to be sort of, Tessa can still be unconscious from 3, but I think that in some ways South Carolina needs to recognize that every possession matters in a way that it hasn't against most opponents this year.
All right, I actually had one more for you, so I lied, and my apologies for being dishonest here on this esteemed program. But I've got a Lulu or Delulu for you, okay? We went through the resume and how close it was with South Carolina and Texas, and we went through how UCLA's got 13 quad 1 wins right now. Now, all this is kind of subject to change, but Lulu or Delulu, South Carolina has a really good chance of being the 4th 1 seed in this and would have to play UConn in the Final Four as opposed to the national championship.
So are you asking about South Carolina being a 1 seed or being the 4th 1 seed where they would be in a UConn bracket?
Being the 4th 1 seed, yes. Thank you for helping me clarify that.
I feel like I would not be surprised if the committee does that. I've seen South Carolina both in Sacramento and Fort Worth, and I don't think that's the Lulu. I think that's a possibility that South Carolina fans might have to prepare for.
Ooh, see, and I was talking with my pal Nick Harvey here, and I was saying that's the one thing I don't want to happen. I want to see them in the final, not the Final Four, but that's certainly, when it comes to the bracketology of this team, maybe one of the most underlying stories. That's Lulu Kesson from the Greenville News. Follow her on Twitter. Read her work. Just fantastic job for them. Lulu, appreciate it as always, my friend. I'm looking forward to seeing you here soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Always happy to chat. Thanks for having me back.
Lulu Kesson, always a winner. We'll give you our winners for today's show, brought to you by the Golden Spur, coming up next to round out today's early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Go to 1075thegame.com and check out this sweet deal. Get a home exterior pressure wash from Ford's Full Court Pressure Wash for only $15. Just click on Sweet Deals.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
This Odyssey Sports Minute is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The Seattle Seahawks were super impressive in winning Super Bowl 60, but let's be real, it's one of the worst Super Bowls ever played. Super Bowl 53, Patriots 13, Rams 3 was bad, but at least that game was close. This was a snooze fest from start to finish. Congratulations to Seattle. Also, the game stunk. I'm Nick Costos.
Ah, the most beautiful time of year is upon us. Tax season. And Tax Slayer is here to help you file. We guarantee 100% accuracy and your maximum refund. Those are some good numbers. And you can trust me, because I'm a talking calculator. Did I mention Tax Slayer even has support from real U.S.-based humans? If you have any questions along the way, beat the rush and start for free today. Tax Slayer. File fearlessly.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
This Valentine's Day, celebrate the one you love the most with Hallmark cards at Walgreens. Valentine's Day is the best time to send your favorite person a reminder of just how much they mean to you. A Hallmark card is a super simple and beautiful way to say how grateful you are for the love you two share. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is Saturday, February 14th. Visit Walgreens today to find a Hallmark card that shows just how much you care for them, because love lives here.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know that hiking isn't for you. Sure, it sounds nice to be in nature while exercising, but that's what a gym and houseplants are for. I mean, you don't even like walking upstairs. So why would you walk up a hill for miles? To what, end up high in the air? Come on, you know you're scared of heights. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Pricing coverage match limited by state law.
The Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Every day, we give out winners to end the show. Brought to you by the Golden Spur. There we go. My man, Mike Singletary. He's an honorary member of the show at this point.
Yeah.
Singletary is.
I want winners.
And thanks to the Golden Spur for giving us the chance to give out winners. Now, to start the winner segment, you can be a winner. If you call in, if you're one of the first two callers into 803-404-6100, what would you win? You would win a family 4-pack of tickets, because we have 2 family 4-pack of tickets to give out for the baseball season opener against Northern Kentucky this Friday, February 13th. So if you want to see some early season baseball, you want to see the opener, get your first look at how this baseball team is looking in the 2026 season, you have a chance to go on us. Again, first two callers, 803-404-6100. you can be a winner too. Now, my first winner for today's show, Nick Harvey, justice. You know why? Because Charles Bediako had his TRO overruled by a Tuscaloosa judge. In the same silliness that got us in this situation, a Tuscaloosa judge first initially granting the TRO to allow G League dropout Charles Bediako into college basketball to play once again is now going to keep him from finishing the season. So this silly little experiment that Nate Oates went on will not last an entire year, and our long national college basketball nightmare is officially over.
Yeah, I mean, that you couldn't set a standard, right? Like, you just couldn't. You couldn't let this be a thing where guys say, I didn't make it, because he didn't get drafted. He ended up signing as a free agent, and then never really cut it out, even in the G League or with any NBA team. So it's like, well, if I can't make it in the pros, I might as well just try to go back to college. No, that's not how it works.
No.
You elected to be done with college basketball. It didn't work out.
Signed away your eligibility.
Correct. And then just decided to say psych, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, it took, obviously this has been kind of a 2.5 week, 3 week saga, I think, since he played in his first game. But I agree. Like, you couldn't set the standard. Now the standard has been set that you can't do that. Because if this happens and then later on it happens again and a different judge grants a different ruling, like, it's kind of like the transfer portal with college football sometimes we've viewed as the Wild West. Like, you just can't have stuff like that going on. So I agree with the decision. I'm glad that this is over and everybody can kind of move on and say, all right, that it shouldn't have happened. It didn't happen.
We can draw a line somewhere. And I'm cool with drawing the line at someone who signed away their eligibility and then tries to argue that not playing college basketball is keeping him from earning money when he's earning money already playing in the G League. Sorry it hadn't worked out the way you thought it would, but you did sign 3 separate Exhibit 10 contracts with 3 separate franchises. I think if there was ever a case the NCAA could win, they finally found the one.
Yeah. I'm going to give a huge shout-out to, I'm going to go ahead and say it, the GOAT, Mike Tirico. This guy called his first Super Bowl on Sunday and then proceeded to wrap up the NFL Super Bowl postgame on NBC and proceed to dip right into Olympic primetime coverage, did an hour of Olympics coverage where I'm sure he hasn't had the time to focus on the sports going on over in Milan Cortina. Did an hour of Olympics coverage, got on a plane, and flew to Milan, Italy, and hosted primetime on NBC last night for the Olympics. I mean, can you draw up, like, not only does that set the standard for what, if you're trying to be a play-by-play broadcaster, if you're trying to be a sports broadcaster of any type, the dream scenario that you call a Super Bowl and then get to go be the front man for the Olympics for the next 2.5 weeks. But also the commitment to excellence from Mike Tirico to call such a good Super Bowl in a game where there wasn't maybe a ton to get excited about. He made it entertaining. The way that he delivered and set up Chris Collinsworth to bring in meaningful facts and statistics, like it can be hard in those situations. I have play-by-play experience. I know it can be challenging in a game like that.
Certainly.
So to handle it and give it the master class that he did and then be in Italy in a 24-hour period and is now front manning the Olympics. Like, I mean, just it doesn't get much better than that. Many, many props to him.
That's why he's the best, right?
Yeah.
If you only give that type of schedule to someone who is the absolute best at their craft, and that's why he makes what he does. And he is like, look, I have maybe broadcasters I might consider my favorite. Like Gus Johnson's probably my favorite.
Sure.
But I certainly can recognize that Mike Tirico is the best, and he is at the height of his powers right now.
Absolutely.
And I'm so glad we got to hear him call a Super Bowl because he is truly the best of the best in this business. He is so good at bringing in the storyline. If you want just an example of how good Mike Tirico is at calling football, go watch that last field goal from Ravens-Steelers for the last week of the season and how perfectly that guy set up the moment. There's a reason Mike Tirico, permanent winner on this program. You're a winner. Tyler Head, Jack Veltri, they're winners, and they're next with the Extra Point.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Sponsored by Discover. Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past.